Paramount Plus. Tomorrow we have a triple header in the NFL. All good games, all good teams mostly. We have the Lions taking on the Packers starting at 9:30 a.m. The Cowboys taking on the Commanders. You can catch that game right here on San Diego Sports 760 at 1:30 p.m. in the nightcap. Division rival game, 49ers taking on the Seahawks, 5:20 there. And Aztecs basketball and football this Saturday. First up, the basketball team takes on Cal, 4 p.m. tip-off there. And football, the final game of the season, senior night, the battle for the old oil can versus Fresno State, 7:30 kick. Of course, you can listen to all the games right here on San Diego Sports 760. And this update's been brought to you by Paramount Plus.
San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? It is hour one of Jon and Jim on this day before Thanksgiving Wednesday. If you're on the roads, be safe. Take your time. We're with you for the next 3 hours. There's nowhere to go. You'll spend time with family. You got a lot of time coming up. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Take your time. If you're on the roads, we're with you for the next 3 hours. Hard to believe Thanksgiving is here when you are outside at 70 degrees and sunny. Another spectacular day in San Diego, California. But here we are, Jim, back. Thanksgiving Wednesday, one of the biggest nights of the year for those that are going out. Not when you're 43 like me. I'm guessing not when you're 36 like you.
I'm actually 34.
You're 36.
I'm 34. Why'd you think I was 36?
I think I was thinking of Ornberger.
I think Ornberger's
36.
Extra
You're
years?
34.
I'm 34.
You were 35 last year.
I know. I de-aged somehow.
Anyway, okay, you're only 34, but you're engaged. Is this a big go out night for you? Are you and Aaron going out with like friends?
This is the complete opposite of that.
That's what I'm saying. But remember when you're in like your 20s, everyone goes out the night before Thanksgiving?
Oh, dude, when I was in my 20s and I would go back home, it was like, hey,
seeing your buddies.
Let's go to the bars. And when you go to the bars, you see everybody from high school.
Exactly.
And it is a reminder of, I am so glad I didn't stay here. Like, I'm glad I got out of town.
Exactly.
You know, because you see people and you see townies and it's like, did you ever leave? Did you ever explore? Did you just stay here at home all the time? Like, okay. And it makes you happy that you branched out, that you left and you branched out and you spread your wings.
All right. Well, we're here.
So you're not doing anything.
I'm not doing anything tonight.
Brant, big night for you, buddy?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing anything tonight. Okay, we've got Paul Garrison on the show. He'll get us ready for San Diego State football and basketball this weekend. Saturday is a busy day for Aztec fans. Garrett Fountain is going to celebrate Senior Day with the Aztecs. Aztec football defensive lineman senior. Senior night is Saturday at 7:30. He'll join us coming up off the practice field at 5:30. Like I always say, Jim sets the narrative. Okay, so that's what happened yesterday. Yesterday, Jim asked about Juan Soto. All anyone wants to talk about today, Jon Morosi, Ken Rosenthal, others, is Juan Soto's future.
Oh, that was because of me?
That was because of you. So if you missed it yesterday, Jim Russell with the general manager of the Padres in an exclusive conversation.
Exclusive in front of everybody.
This was Jim. Now, he was a bit nervous. You can hear it in his voice. This was Jim asking AJ Preller about Juan Soto's future.
Yes, for AJ. A couple weeks ago, Scott Boras mentioned that Juan Soto was in your plans for this upcoming season. Do you think that Juan Soto will be here next year, and do you expect him to be part of your plans for upcoming season?
Yeah, I think Juan Soto's a player like that's always in your plans. I think obviously that's the off season will. We'll get to the next couple of weeks and, continue conversations with Scott, Juan, and kind of get a sense of where he's at for, what it means down the road for San Diego in terms of a contract. And then also, we understand the value of Juan playing for us, next year on a contract year. So having his bat in the lineup is important. I think at the end of the day, you're always from an off-season standpoint, you'll listen and we'll listen, but we think our position player team is very strong. We'd like to keep that position player team together. We also understand we've got to go out and add some pitching to the group that we currently have. So I think that's what the next few weeks will be about.
Jon Morosi and Ken Rosenthal didn't buy it. They did not buy his answer.
Okay.
And because of your question, they've gone on this soliloquy over the last 24 hours where they're all talking about Juan Soto's future.
Because of me?
I think so. I think you set the narrative with that question. I think if he didn't say that and leave open the possibility of him leaving, we wouldn't have heard from Ken Rosenthal today. Do we have Ken? This is Ken Rosenthal today on what is this? Like the Foul Territory podcast or video podcast? What the hell does he do?
Foul Territory is actually a pretty popular podcast on YouTube.
Okay. So this is from the pretty popular podcast on YouTube, Foul Territory. Ken Rosenthal and Juan Soto.
I do expect that he is going to get traded. And the Padres, I'm sure, would love to keep him, but the finances are one thing and their need for starting pitching is another. They have lost a lot of pitchers, period, from their staff, including Hader at the back end of their bullpen. So it seems to me that flipping him would be the way to go, both from a financial perspective, which we've written about, and even a baseball perspective. Obviously, you're better with Juan Soto than without him. But if you can turn him into 3 or 4 players that can help you down the line, that might be the way to go. The one point I wanted to make regarding an extension, and let's say if the Yankees trade for him, is that Soto is represented by Scott Boras. Scott Boras' clients generally do not sign extensions. He encourages them to go to the open market and to establish their value there. That is almost always the case with Boras' clients. There are exceptions, but I don't expect Soto to be one of them. And keep in mind, as you guys mentioned, the 440 is out there. He turned that down. So with regard to waiting to trade for him and then waiting to sign him until after Ohtani, I don't know that any of that really applies because he's not going to sign, in my opinion. If the Yankees throw $500 million at him, okay, maybe. But if you're Scott Boras and the Yankees throw $500 million at him without the benefit of free agency, why not just wait for free agency? So that part of it, I don't see happening. If you trade for Juan Soto, you're getting him for 1 year.
Real quick, how many followers do you think the Foul Territory YouTube channel has?
It has a couple thousand.
Well, I hope a couple thousand. It's Ken Rosenthal's, right?
I'm going to say it has like
Oh, you
over.
mean since we mentioned it?
Yeah, since we mentioned it, they got
Yeah, it's blown up.
I'm going to say 50,000.
25K.
Pretty good.
It's solid. Yeah, no, it's solid. No, it is good. You said very popular, so I wanted to put it in perspective. 25,000 followers. That's good. That's a lot.
That's very solid.
It's more than the wrap-up show has.
That's what is it?
About five times. 5,500.
Yeah, 5 times as much.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Ken Rosenthal.
Yeah.
Anyway, what do you think of that? He says he thinks Juan Soto gets traded.
Yeah. I mean, I think Juan Soto does get traded.
Do you think AJ basically opened us up to that yesterday with his answer when he left open the idea of him being traded?
I listened back to his answer like a couple times. I wanted to dissect it all.
Yeah.
The part where he says, "Yeah, we'll listen." That's all you need to know.
Exactly.
That's all you need to know.
I agree.
And even though Scott Boras came out and like definitively said, "Yeah, the Padres have told us their plans, and Juan Soto is in their plans for next season." Okay, until he's not.
I think Scott Boras would prefer his client stays. I truly believe that. I also think he would prefer his client hits free agency. And I think he's got the best chance to have the most success in 2024 in San Diego from a comfort level. I think that his client has probably told him, "I want to stay."
Yeah.
But I think he's also told his client, "That's fine, but you need to hit free agency because to maximize what you're going to get, and maybe you can get it from a team like the Yankees before you hit free agency, but to truly maximize it, you have to hit free agency."
Yep.
He's 25, right? Juan Soto's going to hit free agency as a 25-year-old. He turned down 440. He's going to get to free agency.
And I would expect him to have a good year next year, regardless of where he is. Like if he's with the Padres, I expect him to have a similar type of season that he had this past year with the Padres, maybe even better, right? You could look at this past season, him not coming up in the clutch moments, right? It just seemed like he didn't come up a lot of times in clutch moments and perform. But if he does it next year and he has the exact same year, but all of his, not all of his, but he gets big time hits, helps his team win. Yeah, he's going to get a lot of money. He's going to get a lot of money, but you have to think. I feel like you have to think with your head here. If you're AJ, your heart says keep Juan Soto, have him paired with Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis Jr. and Hassan Kim and Xander Bogaerts and we need that core group. Like, we believe in those guys, and they had all collectively had a down year last year. But we don't think that's going to happen back-to-back seasons. Or if you think with your head, okay, if our payroll has to be around 200 and we need 3 starters and we need a first baseman and we need a catcher and we need a couple bench pieces and we potentially need a couple relievers, like, is it wise to give a guy $33 million next year in arbitration, which is what he'll get, or to potentially maximize what you could get for Juan Soto to build out a more complete roster?
John Morosi today, MLB Hot Stove. This is a direct quote. I do believe the market for Soto is robust, and there are enough teams out there. I think a trade is not only possible, it's possible before the winter meetings are over. They will start in less than 2 weeks in Nashville. So John Morosi today saying that within the next 2.5 weeks, not only could Juan Soto be traded this offseason, he could be traded during the winter meetings. So, I mean, you're hearing from a lot of people about this possibility. And welcome to the job, Mike Shildt, by the way. As Dennis Lynn writing today, that there were players that preferred Flaherty over Shildt, and the clubhouse will need to be won over by Mike Shildt. So this is the dynamic you're walking into. You don't know about Juan Soto, and you don't even know if anyone wants you there when you walk into the clubhouse day one. Anyone's a stretch, but you know that there were those, according to Dennis's reporting, which is always solid, there were those in that clubhouse that actually prefer the other guy to you in the organization, Ryan Flaherty.
I wonder
who likes Flaherty.
Who likes Ryan Flaherty? It's pretty easy to put 2 and 2 together. Look, I don't particularly like the fact that every new guy that comes here has to be won over.
Mm-hmm.
Shouldn't these players have, like, okay, whoever our manager is, let's go. Right? We have a bigger goal here than sitting here trying to have this guy win me over. And it's not like you brought in another Jace Tingler. Okay. Jace Tingler, I can understand needing to be won over, because who is Jace Tingler?
Yeah, exactly.
Huh? Mike Shildt has been there for 2 years. Okay. In the organization. Mike Shildt has managed teams to the postseason before. Mike Shildt has won a manager of the year. There are plenty of players around baseball that Mike Shildt has managed that I'm sure have good things to say about Mike Shildt. So I don't understand this whole, well, he's got to win over this team. I mean, shouldn't you just go into spring training knowing that you had a bad year last year and have some pride and want to go and regardless of who the manager is, play a better season, put up better numbers, and go out there and trying to win a championship? Like, why are we sitting here discussing, oh, well, this player needs to be won over and this player needs to be won over, and hey, Manny Machado, he needs to be won over? It's like, Manny, bro, go out there and just have a good season. It's that hard?
It is for them, because to your point, I think all ball players go into a season saying, hey, we're going to have a good year. It's the Mike Tyson line I mentioned yesterday. Yeah, until you get dealt with adversity, until you get punched. Like, yeah, of course they're going to go into the year saying, we think we can be good. What happens? Where does the team turn when they're 2 and 4 and they're looking at Mike Shildt in the clubhouse? Are they buying in? Again, that's 6 games. You get my point. Are they buying in when there's adversity?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, if there's no adversity, they're going to buy in. But it's the San Diego Padres. They haven't had a start to finish year in forever. Even their good years have adversity in them. And most teams do, other than the Houstons and the Dodgers, et cetera. So what happens when adversity strikes? And are you really relying on those that are in charge? Like, is Manny buying into the messaging? And did he with Bob Melvin? I thought he did 2 years ago. Was he bought in last year? I have no idea. And if he wasn't bought in with Bob Melvin last year, is he truly going to be bought in with Mike Shildt this year? You got a dynamic, it's a dynamic group, man. I mean, you got guys saying culture doesn't matter. You got a lot of money. You got a lot of stardom.
We quit last year.
Yeah, I mean, all these things.
Egos.
So yeah, of course it sounds good. Yeah. Oh, isn't it easy to can't you just play hard and have good years? Well, yeah. Well, why didn't they do it last year?
I know.
And they had a very good manager last year.
I know. It's frustrating because you would hope, if you're a fan of this team, that we're not talking about having to have guys be won over.
Right.
You know, we're talking about stuff that if you're a professional and you want to win badly, you should just like buy in from the jump.
Sure.
Like, hey, I know Mike Shildt is not coming in here thinking to himself, I just want to be a manager. Who cares if we win? Like he said it yesterday. And the goal of this franchise has not changed, right? We said expectations for this team might be different just because of the payroll and everything. But look, they have said it. World Series, that's their goal. That's what they're aiming for. In the
division title, I'm hearing.
And division title.
Yeah.
But you get my point. Like, they're all trying to win a championship. Okay. Shouldn't that be enough to all be on the same page?
Well, again, I go back to
for everyone to have buy-in.
Every team says the first day of spring training, hey, we think we can be good. We think we can be competitive. We want to win a World Series.
The first day of
season starts.
First day of spring training last year was not about that.
The first day of spring training last year was about Manny Machado.
Correct. Now it won't be about this year because he's got his money. Everybody's got their money. They're not going to probably go out and sign a guy to a $400 million contract.
None of this is surprising. If you followed the Padres like we have, none of this should come as a surprise.
No.
This actually is less surprising than the opposite. What would be very surprising to me is if you heard from the entirety of the team from day one, we're fully bought in. We're committed. We failed. It was on us. We're going to do better to make it good. That would surprise me. I just don't think it's really in their DNA. I don't think they look internally. I don't think you're going to hear from Manny Machado day one and say what happened last year, put it on me.
Well, you've yet to hear from Manny Machado.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to hear that from Manny Machado. I think oftentimes the blame goes elsewhere. If he performs, it's great. Mm-hmm. It's less about buying into Mike Shildt than it is about Manny Machado performing. If he performs, look out. They can win 95 games.
Yeah, and that's the thing is it should not be about do I buy into this guy? It's about going out there, having a good season, and buying into the fact that everyone on this team is pulling on the same rope to go win a championship. That was not the case last year. I said pull on the same rope probably 150 times. And this team never could do that. So when I see stuff from Dennis, like already, and hearing him on Darren today, kind of mention it as well about there were players that, preferred Flaherty over Shildt. And Mike's going to have to win over that clubhouse. Okay, here we go again.
Well, none of it, because the people haven't. It's like what do they say?
Hope it works.
What doesn't change its stripes? A zebra?
Zebras, yeah.
These people haven't changed. Manny Machado's still here. Why? Manny Machado was quoted by Kevin Acee in the final month of the regular season saying, what is this, high school baseball or college baseball? Who cares about culture? Why would any of it change now that you've switched your manager? This is what they all signed up for. AJ Preller knows what he bought. This team isn't changing. The Machados and the Bogarts and the Tatises and potentially the Sotos. This is the dynamic that didn't work in 2023. Well, it's still here in 2024. It's just going to magically change because Mike Shildt's the manager.
You know how why I hope it changes. And again, it's can't change the zebra stripes. I hope that these players would look themselves in the mirror and realize that, hey, there was a lot of moments last year that were, for our standards, kind of embarrassing. And I'm getting paid a boatload of money by this organization. Peter Seidler opened up his checkbook for me, and to go out there and perform the way that I did last year was embarrassing. So I feel like that alone should be enough motivation to go out there and say that ain't happening again. Because I'm a professional athlete. I get paid a bunch of money. This is a game that I love, and I don't want to go out there and have the same season I did last.
So it took them all year to come to that recollection when Joe Musgrove May 1st is saying, hey, we need to kick it into another gear. When then other players June 1st are saying something's not right here. Hey, Nelson Cruz, what's wrong? I'm not really sure. It took 162 games for them to realize that they erred in their ways.
Well, you know why, John?
Why?
It's baseball.
But I'm saying it's not as simple as saying they should look themselves in the mirror and have a better year. I'm sure they looked themselves plenty of times in the mirror in 2023 and didn't have a better year.
Well, it's about the things that, they can control. And one of them that is going to be watched very carefully this year is, or next season, I guess. Mm-hmm. When they go down in games, are they going to roll over and quit like they did in the past season? Because they admitted that happened. And that's one thing that is so easy, just effort, right? Just go out there, don't give up at bats, right? Focus when you're on the base paths. Know how many out, okay, this is the situation, this is that, lock in. Runner on second, less than 2 outs. Got to drive, got to get him over got to get him home, Okay. Runner at third, less than 2 outs. Got to get him in any way possible. That didn't happen this past season.
I know, and that's my point. I agree with everything you're saying. If it didn't happen last year, are you overly confident all of a sudden it happens?
Well,
and it may be because of a regression to a mean. They're overly due.
Well, look at 2021 into 2022. It changed. And yes, they did have a lot of new pieces on that team, but
including their manager.
Yep. But it's still, you still had Musgrove, Darvish, Snell, Manny, Kim, Cronenworth. I know Tatis wasn't there, but like
but that also goes to my point. Like 2023 was the same team as 2022. 2022 they performed, relatively speaking. 2023 they didn't.
I think we can pretty safely say that the 2024 team won't be exactly the same as the 2023 team.
Yeah, just like the 2022 team wasn't the same as the 2023 team, and the 2021 team wasn't the same as the 2022 team. Every team.
That's why I'm hoping that next year we don't get any more of this stuff about he needs to win this person over, or this person needs to buy in, or he's not fully bought in yet. I don't want to see any of that. I want to see that they all have one singular goal: just make the postseason and attack for a World Series. I don't want to see any rift in the clubhouse. None of that. Okay, Mike Shildt, their manager. End of discussion. Bob's gone. All right, you go on that. AJ's still here. You guys had a bad season last year. Manny had his worst season potentially of his career almost, right? When you look at the numbers and getting paid and all that stuff, whatever. You should have some pride to go out there and perform better than you did last year. For a lot of these players, Xander, Tatis, I think Tatis had a good season, but he could be better. Everybody, Joe, Darvish, Robert Suarez, go out there and perform better for yourselves.
I don't know. Hopefully. I mean, it sounds good. I would have thought that they would have done it in 2023 is my point. And hopefully it didn't take 2023 for them to realize they need to do it in 2024, but that's a possibility.
It's the dynamic that we're here all watching. That's what AJ built. So hopefully it's a good season next year, and hopefully they buy into Mike Shildt eventually.
Hopefully. Paul Garrison, East Village Times, will join us on the other side. We'll talk some San Diego State hoops off that tournament win in Vegas. They'll get Cal this weekend in San Juan Capistrano. It's also senior night for San Diego State's football team. Paul Garrison, East Village Times, will join us on the other side. Garrett Fountain, Aztec senior defensive lineman, will hop on the show at 5:30. We have Aztec tickets to give away for Saturday at Snapdragon. We have a 4-pack of tickets to Legoland, California to give away. It's Thanksgiving Wednesday. Stay with us on Jon and Jim. All right, so you're heading out for Thanksgiving. You're just getting to San Diego potentially, and you're looking for a spot that's got you covered for all your Thanksgiving needs over this weekend. Windmill Farms has you covered. Visit windmillfarmsmarket.com to see all their Thanksgiving specials, including Diestel all-natural whole turkeys for $4.97 per pound. They've got red yams and sweet potatoes for $1.88 per pound. Green beans, Brussels sprouts, or broccoli crowns for $1.99 per pound. Or Bueller non-GMO spiral sliced ham, $5.97 per pound. Windmill Farms, the college area's natural grocer, family owned. Their owner, Trevor, his mom, they've been in the grocery business for over 20 years. They've got an amazing selection for you this Thanksgiving. Whatever you need, they have for you. In addition to what I just told you about, they've got the craft beer, they have the kombucha, they have the produce, the meats. They've got the deli. If you're looking to pick up a sandwich over the Thanksgiving weekend, go to their deli, pick up a sandwich card. Your 8th sandwich is free. They've got the freshest, highest quality ingredients. They keep their prices incredibly low as well. And again, they're centrally located in Del Cerro. You don't have to be in Del Cerro, by the way. If you don't live or work near Del Cerro, you can find Windmill Farms on Instacart. Have your groceries delivered directly to your doorstep. Windmill Farms is local first. They support local businesses from Harris Ranch to Mr. G's Salsa to a whole lot more than just that. family owned in San Diego for 20 plus years. Visit windmillfarmsmarket.com to see their weekly specials and their Thanksgiving specials. And again, shop local, shop at Windmill Farms.
All right, this update is brought to you by the NFL on CBS, streaming on Paramount Plus. NFL triple header tomorrow, starting off with the Lions taking on the Packers, starting at 9:30 a.m., followed by the Cowboys and Commanders at 1:30. Of course, you can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. And the nightcap division rivalry game between the Niners and the Seahawks in Seattle, 5:20 kickoff there. And Aztecs football and basketball this Saturday. Basketball up first, 4 p.m. at tip-off versus Cal. After that, we'll have San Diego State football, 7:30 kickoff there versus Fresno State. It's the Brady Hoke's final game as the head coach of the Aztecs. This Thanksgiving, Paramount Plus is serving up a tasty NFC East matchup when the Cowboys aim for another big win against the rival Commanders. It all kicks off at 4:30 Eastern. The NFL on CBS streams live on Paramount Plus. Did I sound like big voice guy?
You kind of did. All right. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Drive safe if you're heading throughout Southern California here today. We're with you until 6 o'clock. Take the extra moment. Take a deep breath. We know it can be annoying. You'll get home hopefully soon. You want to get there safely. All right. We have Paul Garrison with us, who's been so good to the show over the course of the last couple of years. Paul, happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. We want to talk both some San Diego State football and basketball with you. Obviously, as Jim just said, it's Brady's final game as a head coach, which means the athletic department is turning the page as well to a new head coach, obviously, in 2024. We're hearing about some candidates. Tony White, who's got ties to San Diego State, 9 years on the coaching staff. We heard an interesting name yesterday from Bruce Feldman, Brennan Marion. He's the offensive coordinator at UNLV. They've been one of the better stories in college football this year. What do you make of those two as potential candidates right now for San Diego State moving forward?
Well, happy Thanksgiving to you. I'm really looking forward to that Cowboys Commanders game. That was a great voice.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
But those two, I think Tony White, the moment that this was announced in everybody's mind kind of turned to Tony White. There was a kind of a fan favorite, a person who seemed to fit inside all the boxes, of course, exception of knowing what kind of offense he would run. It was him. I think that if you look at what J.D. Wicker talked about when he announced it, he was almost describing Tony White. And so the fact that that came out and it is not surprising. The offense coordinator from UNLV, on the other hand, although he was mentioned as well in some of the early, insider industries, it's surprising because it's not like UNLV has this long history of winning. It's not like UNLV is the team that has, paced the conference and the Aztecs are chasing them. They are doing this. The flip side of it is, they have a really young quarterback who runs that offense that Marion designs. And, in this day and age, very often there is a pairing that comes. The coach comes and the coach also quarterback who can run his system. Utah State when they beat San Diego State in the Mountain West Championship in 2021. We've seen it throughout college football. And so I think that's part of what allowed him to get there. The quarterback community was a freshman, and if he were able to, they made that hire and he brought that QB over with him in the transfer portal, it would become really good really quick.
Well, we've heard a couple names like we just talked about there, but is there any other names out there that you think the Aztecs should go out and interview? There's any names that you think would fit here in San Diego for this team?
Yeah, absolutely. I was in San Jose this past weekend, and I know that you guys started this game earlier even before that. But Brennan, who is the head coach of San Jose State, has done a really good job there. Has established culture at San Jose State. He's also gotten a huge investment into their program. So it might be too much of a lateral move for him, but he needs a lot of sense. I think Zach Arnett, who was the head coach at Mississippi State. It's interesting with Tony White. He would have a kind of very similar resume. except Zach Arnett got fired as the head coach, so people maybe get soured on him a little bit. But I think he would be somebody who would be really interesting. I think the hard part is in trying to make this prediction is Lee Wicker talked about building the culture at San Diego State, and it is a very unique culture, and it's difficult for me to see how a coordinator who has never built a culture anywhere, how you would know whether or not he's capable of continuing the culture at San Diego State, unless he's already been at San Diego State for one team, which would lead me to believe that unless the coordinator has ties to it, if you could find someone who has a proven track record, maybe they're
Paul Garrison, East Village Times, with us on Jon and Jim. So, Paul, I know at least for a portion of the weekend you were in Vegas. I know you saw San Diego State, Washington, at least for a portion of the times did. How do you compare where San Diego State is today compared to where they were a year ago today?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, I was headed home from San Jose State, and my brother he called me and had me do a little bit of a move to go over to in Vegas with my two boys, and they drove over there, and so that's how I saw that last game. But I would just say where they're at with those two parties. Um, I think San Diego State is a lot more of an unknown still today than they were maybe a year ago. Um, a year ago, they really fine tuned things that they were doing in terms of defense, in terms of which players were going to play in the rotation, and how to preparing now and Mike Paris in. And I think that this year's team, it's really interesting because you know, given that they're still not ranked, even though they have arguably the most impressive resume in the country. So I think a lot of people are thinking that maybe they're kind of playing above their head. Jaden Ledee has kind of come out of nowhere in terms of his performance and being able to sustain that and keep that going. I think people are kind of betting that he's not going to be able to do, which you can understand considering how dominant he's been. And I think a lot of the teams still finding their defensive identity, how to play together. So I think this team could have a really high ceiling, but they're doing it though, they're winning, which is pretty special.
And finally, for me, Paul, the other day, Ryan Dutcher mentioned potentially putting Darian Trammell back in the starting lineup. Do you think that's something that this team should do? Because I feel like their starting lineup right now is, they're one of the best, starting lineups in the country as far as metrics go. And if you did start, who are you putting him in there for?
Yeah, I think that's a hard question. I don't necessarily think that Darian Trammell should start. I think that something that is a necessity. I think the idea of having 2 point guards who are separated with Butler and Trammell, it allows you to always have that point guard regardless of who's in the game, right? When Butler takes a break, you would already have a natural point guard in there, and you wouldn't have to have somebody else play that position. If you were going to do that, I think the most logical people would be either Micah Parrish or Reese Waters, and only because they play such similar positions. I think they've shown enough that they're having a hard enough time with size inside that I don't think they're going to be able to play that well. They would take out Elijah Saunders. So I think you would have to go in that route where you take out Waters or you take out Micah Parrish. But I just think that unlocking Trammell is really important because as he showed last in the tournament, he was their best player. He's a real shot maker, and I think that you need to figure out how to rest Ledee, and I think that the kind of the next person to take that offensive load and that creativity would be Trammell. And when Ledee isn't in, having the offense run through him, I think would be a good idea.
Paul, always appreciate it. Love your coverage in the East Village Times, whether it's football related, basketball related, whatever it is, regarding San Diego State. Again, happy Thanksgiving to your family. We hope to see you at some point out there this weekend and throughout the fall and winter with San Diego State hoops. And thanks for hopping on today.
Absolutely. Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
All right. Paul Garrison, East Village Times. Garrett Fountain, San Diego State senior defensive lineman, ahead of senior day, will join us at 5:30. Next hour, Jim, your chance to win Aztec tickets for Saturday night, Snapdragon Stadium. Celebrate senior night with the Aztecs. First 10,000 fans get a San Diego State beanie. Tickets and info at goaztecs.com. We also have a 4-pack of tickets to give away to Legoland, California. We know this. Fernando Tatis Jr. off a platinum glove. We know his position is set for forever, right? I mean, he won a platinum glove.
Yeah, catcher.
Yeah, he's clearly your catcher moving forward. No, he's clearly a right fielder, right?
Yeah.
Maybe not right. All right. The latest on Fernando Tatis Jr. and what position he's going to be playing potentially as soon as this winter in winter ball. Stay with us here on Jon and Jim. All right, so as you're driving around on this Thanksgiving Wednesday, the day before, you're getting ready for Black Friday, right? And holiday shopping, we've got the perfect gift for you. If you're a San Diegan, if you're a sports fan, the perfect gift, it's an amazing collectible commemorating the biggest moment in San Diego sports history, Lamont Butler's buzzer beater in the Final Four this past April. You remember where you were, right? Just me saying that brings back memories. I was in Houston. What a moment it was. You need to see this collectible for yourself right now. Visit butleratthebuzzer.com. Jot it down. Remember it. Think about it this Black Friday. Butleratthebuzzer.com. This is your opportunity to relive this historic moment with a limited edition collectible. It benefits Lamont Butler's NIL efforts and the Aztec Link Collective that benefits San Diego State student athletes. Each print is signed by Lamont Butler. It's authenticated. It's numbered. There are just dozens remaining. And best of all, you're supporting San Diego State student athletes. Visit butleratthebuzzer.com to see these beautiful collectibles for yourself, because once they're gone, right? Once they're gone, they're gone. There's just one print of these collectibles. Supports San Diego State student athletes. It's the best holiday gift of the season for San Diegans. Again, visit butleratthebuzzer.com. Fernando Tatis Jr.
What
You know
about
the
him?
name?
I've heard of him before. Yeah.
So walk me through this again. 2 years ago,
Oh no.
when he got himself, you're going to sneeze? Happy Thanksgiving. Jim has sneezed. Achoo.
Achoo. Ha 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 ha.
That was amazing. Do we still have the AI achoo by chance, Brent?
Achoo.
Achoo.
Ha 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 ha.
So remember 2 years ago, he gets hurt, but he doesn't tell anyone he's hurt, but he was going to play Winter League that year.
Yeah.
Remember? He was with like his dad's team, Estrellas, I want to say, in the Dominican Winter League.
Yep.
Then there's last year. Okay, he's coming off his shoulder. He's not playing in the Winter League. So this year, it really is amazing what he accomplished in the field playing right. Platinum glove. I mean, it's incredible. His first year playing right full time, and he's the best fielder in the National League.
I didn't know that platinum glove is, I think, is it voted on by the fans?
Stop, sneeze, achoo.
I don't know who votes on it. Someone knows that 70470 started with team. We could Google it. I don't even care. But let's just all admit he was a great fielder, right?
Yes.
Great fielder. So now, follow up with the story. His dad is a manager of Estrellas in the Dominican, or the manager of a Dominican Winter League team, right? Fernando Tatis.
Fernando
He's the manager.
Tatis Sr. is the manager of the team that Tatis Jr. would be playing on.
And he's not committing to Tatis playing right field. Is that correct?
He spoke with reporters yesterday, and it was in Spanish, and he was asked about where Tatis would play,
Mm-hmm.
and he said shortstop.
Shortstop.
And they were like, wait, shortstop, he's a right fielder. Why would he play shortstop? And his dad was adamant in saying that's his position. Like, that's his natural position. Really? I mean, come on, man. It just feels like, don't stir up the pot here. There's no point. He played amazing in right field last year, coming off of a suspension and surgeries and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And overall, I think he had a very good season. So putting him at shortstop, do you think that stirs up anything? Like, oh, he's playing shortstop now.
It speaks. Listen, I don't know if this is fair or not when it comes to Tatis Jr., because I think he was a consummate team guy last year from what Bob Melvin told us.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say he's a me guy or he's not thinking about what's better for the team. But the idea of Fernando Tatis Jr. playing short in the Winter League when he's never going to touch shortstop in the major leagues, to me, is a bit counterintuitive.
Didn't his dad do something else that was kind of viewed as like, hey, maybe you should just stop talking? I forget what it
Recently?
was. It was over the past
Couple of off seasons?
Yeah.
Probably. I can't think of it off the top of my head.
I remember us discussing something that Tatis Sr. said.
Was it the fact that he said he was going to play? And we're like, dude, you don't need to play. You're coming off an injury. You're coming off injuries in 2021. We don't even want to see you out there. Why are you considering it? We talked about that.
Was it around his suspension?
I'm not sure.
But I feel like this isn't the first time Tatis Sr. has said something where you're like, maybe it's not best to do that.
I mean, do we need him even playing? Another point. He posted finally for a whole year.
Yeah.
He stayed healthy.
Yep.
And now he needs to play short in the Dominican Winter League.
Not really.
Right?
Not really. I don't. Like I said, when we found out about this maybe a month ago or so, that he was going to be playing, I don't necessarily have that big of a problem with it because he did finish the whole year healthy, or at least, finish the whole year.
Yeah. I think healthy.
And I think everything relatively healthy.
Definitely.
From where he's been the last couple off seasons.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think he earned the right to, hey, I finished this full season. I'm fully healthy. Like, anybody can get hurt doing anything. I can walk down some stairs and trip and fall and break my wrist or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think he earned that, you did everything this year right. And you gained some trust back. So if you want to go play in the Winter League, like go play in the Winter League. Ronald Acuna Jr. is playing in winter ball right now.
Oh, no, I know. There's a lot of pride in it. It's just, and both coming off injuries, obviously, in the last couple of years, just Tatis's whole career, the story has been injuries. And then the most recent part of his career is his move to right field. Mm-hmm. And to me, again, I don't know what the right word is, but it seems like unproductive, counterintuitive. I hate to go as far as selfish because that's not what I'm trying to say. But from the outside, it feels that way that, hey, I can't do it in the big.
Yeah. Like I'd be saying, think that they moved him on shortstop. He's their best shortstop.
It's
What are
just
they
how
doing?
it's what it seems.
Yeah, a
And I
little
don't know if
bit.
that's accurate or not, but that's what it appears. So I don't know. I just feel like there's like when it comes to the Winter League with Fernando Tatis Jr., all I'm thinking about with Tatis is like improve your numbers last year. You stayed healthy, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Now have that Acuna breakout, bounce back, massive, a year removed from injury year.
Yeah, like a 30-30 season where you
Yeah.
have 42 bombs and 34 stolen bases. You have a 970 OPS.
That's exactly right.
Play
So
150 games.
can this help you get there? Maybe it can. Maybe this is beneficial for him. That's absolutely a possibility. I just don't know that him playing shortstop accomplishes any of the team goals for next year. Maybe that's not the point because it's the Winter League.
Because John, the only way you get better is by playing.
By playing. But it's short.
Yeah, I don't get that part of it. And to like adamantly say like that's his position. That's his
Right.
natural position. Well, he's not a right fielder, my guy. Like, I'm sorry. It's he's not a shortstop anymore.
It's just another weird dynamic
It is.
in the story of the San Diego Padres.
And it's honestly probably nothing, hopefully. But just the history here, and you're just like, really? Why are you so I don't know,
If you're gonna play, we
No,
wouldn't even be
push back
critical.
here.
If we wouldn't be critical if he was playing in the Winter League. I'd be like, okay, he earned it. He was healthy. He's playing right field. Great.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Fine.
Okay. He's playing in the Winter League. He's playing for his dad. Playing shortstop for his dad in the Winter League. To me,
And him being so adamant, like that's his position.
yeah. Hour 2 of Jon and Jim on the other side. We'll get to the wrap. We also have Trainwreck Radio. We're giving away in the 4 o'clock hour 2 tickets for Saturday at Snapdragon Stadium, San Diego State, Fresno State. Celebrate senior night with the Aztecs. First 10,000 fans get a San Diego State beanie. Tickets and info at goaztecs.com. 5 o'clock hour. We're going to give away a 4-pack of tickets to Legoland, California. They've got their Legoland holidays back. So great giveaways for you over the next couple of hours. Garrett Fountain, San Diego State senior defensive lineman, will join us at 5:30. Hour 2 of Jon and Jim is next.
All right, this update's brought to you by the NFL on CBS, streaming on Paramount Plus. Triple header tomorrow in the NFL on Thanksgiving. First up, Lions taking on the Packers at 9:30 a.m., followed by the Cowboys and Commanders at 1:30 p.m. You can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. The nightcap, Niners traveling to Seattle to take on the Seahawks at 5:20. Aztecs basketball and football this Saturday night. 4 p.m. at tip-off for the Aztecs basketball game versus Cal, followed by San Diego State taking on Fresno State in football at Snapdragon Stadium. Final home game of the season, senior night, and the fight for the old oil can. Of course, you can listen to both games right here on San Diego Sports 760. This Thanksgiving, Paramount Plus is serving up a tasty NFC East matchup. The Cowboys aim for another huge, massive, gigantic win against their rival Commanders. It all kicks off at 1:30 Pacific. The NFL on CBS streams live on Paramount Plus.
San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Hour 2 of Jon and Jim on this day before Thanksgiving Wednesday show with you until 6. You're driving around Southern California. Be safe this evening as you are on your way to see friends and family and loved ones. Take an extra minute, take a deep breath. We know it can be annoying. Jim once had a 15-hour drive home.
It was a disaster.
That's awful. I mean, why you would even consider a 10-hour drive the day before Thanksgiving when they have planes that
I wouldn't even go.
Don't take 10 hours. Yeah, what were you thinking? You're not really, you're more of a driver than a flyer when it comes to the Southern California, Northern California?
No, not anymore. When I had my dog, Buster, I think that's the reason why I drove.
So, okay, that makes sense. That must have been even worse.
Yeah.
That's a long time with a dog.
Oh, yeah. And I remember one year for Thanksgiving, so I drove up.
Yeah.
And I drove back, and it was raining, and he did not like the windshield wipers.
Oh, they bark and everything at the windshield wipers.
And so driving up to Santa Rosa, it was raining. I had put the windshield wipers. I was on the 5 freeway.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, there's no turns, so just straight. But I couldn't have my windshield wipers on because he would attack my windshield.
That's fine. You don't need them. So you just didn't use them because you were thinking about the dog.
I honestly, I don't know how I'm still here because
you just drove straight.
I was holding him and like covering his eyes while driving and then like making sure I didn't have the windshield wipers constantly going.
The things we do for animals.
So when I got home, I got the that like stuff you put on the windshield that makes all the water just like you don't even need the windshield wipers.
Yes, where it just like evaporates.
It evaporates, yeah. So I had to go out to the store that weekend and like buy that stuff to put it on my windshield for my drive home because it was raining throughout the entire weekend.
Dude.
And it never rained again.
And then it never rained again. So that was a
Thanksgiving driving, like there are some nightmare stories. So be safe. Dude. Be safe.
Yeah, be safe, everybody.
This holiday season. All right, still ahead. Garrett Fountain, San Diego State senior defensive lineman, will join us at 5:30. It's senior night on Saturday at Snapdragon Stadium. This hour, we've got 2 tickets to give away. Aztecs, Fresno State, Saturday at 7:30. Snapdragon. Celebrate senior night with the Aztecs. First 10,000 fans get a San Diego State beanie. Tickets and info at goaztecs.com. Next hour, a 4-pack of tickets to Legoland, California. Do we have a special theme here for the wrap today?
I think a little bit.
A little bit of a special theme because it's the day before Thanksgiving.
Oh, it's the day before Thanksgiving?
It is.
Let's get to it, Brent.
All right.
Will Manny Machado have an MVP type of a season next year for the Padres?
If you look at his career, it goes good season, bad season, good season, bad season, good season, bad season. It's a pattern with Manny Machado. So with that being said, coming off a bad season, you would expect him to next year to have a good season. Coming off of surgery, it might take a little time for that to, get into full gear, but hopefully Manny's fully healthy next year. He's not dealing with any injuries like he was last year, which really hurt him. He couldn't even play in the field, but I'm not going to use that as an excuse to why he had a bad season. I'm going to say he doesn't have I'm going to say he doesn't have an MVP season, but I'm going to say he has an all-star type of season.
Yeah, I mean, the injury is concerning to me. I agree. Normally, I think you would expect to bounce back. The injury is concerning. I don't think, I got to be real with it, to your point. I'd be very surprised if you're looking at like a top 2 MVP year, like 2 years ago when he finished second.
Yeah.
Like top 2, 3 for me off an injury like this would be unbelievable and a bit of a stretch. I hope it's all-star caliber, to your point. I hope it's more like top 10 or 12 offensive player in the league. You'd sign up for that immediately. I don't know about top 2 or 3. Off elbow tendon surgery, I hope, but I think that might be overly optimistic is the way I look at it. Next question.
When is the acceptable time to eat your Thanksgiving meal?
Oh, the like time of day?
Yeah. I'm a like 4 to 5 type of guy. Like 4 p.m., 5 p.m., like around there.
Yeah, I feel like it's almost late.
Yeah,
I feel like
that's
some
a
people go
waste of your
earlier.
day.
Yeah, I'm thinking a lot of people go in like that 3 o'clock hour.
That's even too late.
Is it 2 o'clock hour? You going before then?
We usually would go about 1 o'clock
1 o'clock. So more of a lunch.
Yeah, lunch.
Dinner.
because then you can eat twice.
Yeah, you can eat
You
twice.
can eat lunch, then you can eat dinner.
So what would
with
you do then?
Snacks in between.
If you're eating between 4 and 5, what are you doing around noon or 11 a.m.? Like, what are you typically eating on Thanksgiving Day?
Well, I mean, usually when I'm like at home, and I won't be doing this year,
Yeah.
but if I'm home, mom's cooking in the morning and through the afternoon, getting the turkey ready.
Okay.
And then we're snacking on all the snacks,
Okay,
like
snacking.
cheese board, maybe deviled eggs,
Okay.
chips, like just maybe just snacking.
Yeah, you're not eating a big meal.
You're not eating a big
Okay.
meal. You're not eating breakfast, definitely. You're not eating lunch.
Gotcha.
Because you're saving up for Thanksgiving dinner. That's how I roll.
I'm leaning more towards Brent, where I don't know about 1 p.m., but I'm absolutely an advocate of 2 o'clock on.
Well,
Because at 2 o'clock, 2 o'clock, I hate the waiting game. Because there's not a lot going on Thanksgiving. You're watching television, you're with family, you're not out and about. You're just kind of waiting to eat. And the idea of having to wait till 4 or 5 o'clock, I gotta get into it a little earlier. Now, I don't eat meat, so maybe I'm not the best person to ask.
Yeah, you're not really waiting for anything.
No, I'm waiting to eat like
salad's always ready.
chips.
Chips, yeah.
Well, we talked about it earlier about going to the bar the night before.
Yeah.
That's big in Wisconsin.
Sure.
Like, regardless of age, just because there's nothing else to do.
Right.
So that was the main reason why we used to eat earlier than that. But once me and my cousins got older, we had to move it to 1 because if we said, okay, we're going to eat at noon, none of us would be there until about 1 because we were hungover.
That makes sense.
So it turned into like a Thanksgiving breakfast. If you woke up late.
And then you just went right to the
meal
table.
Eat, yeah.
Is that a bad thing?
No.
It's not that bad of a thing.
It's just people have different preferences.
70470 start.
I want to eat like all day. That's
right. What time do you eat Thanksgiving? 70470 start it with team. Next question.
What's the best side dish on Thanksgiving?
I'm going with stuffing.
You're going with stuffing.
It's so versatile.
It's so good. I agree.
It's
with
so
you.
versatile.
I agree.
There's many ways you can make stuffing. It's not just a one way type of thing.
So true.
Like, let's be real here. Mashed potatoes, you can't really do much with mashed potatoes.
Kind of are what they are.
Okay, you put the gravy on it. It's great. I'm not saying mashed potatoes are bad. It's just probably not on the top of my list.
Yeah.
I'm also a weird person, and I like corn casserole and green bean casserole.
I like green bean casserole.
I like green bean. That's
I like
mine.
green bean with like the little fried topping on
without
it or
those.
something.
Yep, I like it.
Because the fried toppings are
And onions, yeah.
Yep.
Without that, but yeah, I like green bean.
Green bean casserole, the melted cheese. But I think I have to go with stuffing just because it's so versatile and you can put a lot of stuff on it and you can add the gravy to it. It's just.
Here's what I like about stuffing is that you don't typically go to it other times of year. Now, you could say that a little bit about turkey in terms of an actual turkey. I think you could go to mashed potatoes or sweet potatoes all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
But in
not so
terms
much
of
sweet potatoes,
right, but stuffing is not something you're breaking out June 8th.
Yeah.
Typically, you're not breaking that thing out
for 4th of
Halloween
July.
Eve. You're right. So this is very specific to November, and it is so good. You almost wonder why people aren't eating stuffing more often.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever thought about that? Like, why am I not eating stuffing?
Because it's a Thanksgiving.
more
It's a
often?
Thanksgiving meal.
I know. No, you're right, but it's good.
Same reason why people don't eat pumpkin pie year round.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like
Do
when
like pumpkin pie.
when I tell you
Is that a side dish?
right, pumpkin pie.
no, it's a dessert.
I know.
Okay.
I was joking.
So
Like
good.
when I tell you Christmas dinner, you can have many types of Christmas dinners.
No doubt.
There's not a singular thing that like you have to have on Christmas.
Mhm.
Thanksgiving, that's a different story. There are certain things that you kind of like. If you don't have it on Thanksgiving, what are you doing here?
No, I agree with that. You make a good point. Next question.
Will Juan Soto get traded by the end of the winter meetings?
I think so. Yes.
Really?
I do. I think
So these are the final 20 days of Juan Soto as a Padre.
I think this thing's going to heat up. I think this team is a little behind and totally understandable with the passing of Peter, even though before last Tuesday, I think we were all wondering, hey, why have you not hired a manager yet? You know, you're the last team here. What's going on?
Right.
So they're a little behind. And I think AJ is going to start to make some moves here because he has to. He can't wait around. They have a lot to try to accomplish. And the first and foremost part of the puzzle is Juan Soto. So I'm going to say, unfortunately, he's going to be traded. I don't want him to be traded. I don't want that to happen. I want to watch Soto and I want to cover him for another year. But there's too much smoke around Juan Soto being traded that it would be a shocker to me if it didn't happen.
I will say no by the conclusion of the winter meetings. I do not think by the way, the winter meetings end in 13 days and 5 hours. So I don't think Juan Soto is traded in the next 13 days. That is my hunch, even though I hear what John Morosi is saying. I'm listening to what Ken Rosenthal is saying. I'm not saying it doesn't happen this offseason. I think it is so significant that it takes more time than that to pull off. Now, is there a possibility of it? Of course. Is there a possibility he returns? Of course. I still think he could be moved. I just don't see us being in the final 13 days of the Juan Soto tenure.
I don't think he'll go before the winter meetings are done, but I think the ball's going to get rolling at the winter meetings.
Sure.
You know, put it this way, AJ is going to be a very popular guy at the winter meetings. I think everyone's going to be running up to go, hey, AJ, how you doing?
Right. Yeah, he's got things that people want. I mean, the Juan Soto market would be significant if he's actually available.
Yeah, I view it that I don't think they can afford to wait to make this decision because they have too many things they need to accomplish.
Because, okay, so by moving him, it allows you to address starting pitching and other needs. So if you don't move him or if you wait until January, February, you're waiting on some of these other moves.
Absolutely. They have to choose. Are we keeping Juan Soto and dealing with the ramifications and going to a place where we may not want to go with giving a lot of young guys opportunities because we can't go out and spend a bunch of money? Potentially we can go out and make some trades to fill these holes. Are we going that route? Or are we going the route where we could potentially round out the roster better with unloading this $33 million for next season that Juan Soto is going to get in arbitration? And it's going to hurt, and it's going to suck, and it's something they don't want to do. But unfortunately, like I've said before, they've made their bed. They chose who they want to be here long term. And so now they're going to pay the price and they're going to pay the consequences of not performing last year, giving all this money to older players who are on the decline potentially, and giving money to players before they their time was ready, like Jake Cronenworth. And it's like, you made your bed. So you got to pick a route. You're in the middle of the road, the fork in the road analogy. Are you going to go down the road of, this is thinking with my head, better for the team? It sucks that we have to lose Juan Soto, but we did this to ourselves. We have no other choice. Or we'll live with the consequences. Juan Soto, we want him on our team. But with that, you're going to see a lot of young players next year.
What would you do if you were AJ Preller, Padres fans? Keep him or trade him? Juan Soto, what would you do if you were in charge? 844-570-1360. 844-570-1360. What would you do if you were in charge? Or 70470, start it with team. The reason they have to consider it is obvious. Like you said, they did this to themselves, and the payroll's got to go. With all that being said, they said 3 pennant races, they got 1.
Things changed, John.
Yeah, but I mean, that is such a massive misfire.
I know.
And such a bad look for the general manager. I just wonder if he has the pride to swallow to even do it.
He has no choice.
No, I think he has a choice. I do think he has a choice.
I meant if they go that route, he doesn't have a choice but to swallow whatever type of backlash that he's going to get.
Well, if I'm AJ and if I got to win in 2024, what gives me a best chance to win in 2024? These moves on the periphery. I get rid of Soto. I add pieces that can help me at the big league level, but also in my system. It allows me to address my salary issues. Like, I don't know how to answer that. Like, I don't know if am I really winning more? Like, I think that's a tough sell. Am I really winning more in 2024 without Juan Soto with this trade?
So John Heyman said that a Juan Soto trade likely will cost 2 top 100 prospects.
That's it.
I know,
I was
right?
kind of thinking 3.
At least 2.
Okay.
Now, if you're AJ, do you think that if they're going to go down this route of trading Juan Soto, like they have to commit to a price tag and they're not going to go below that? Like, hey, here's our price. We're
Mhm.
not going below that. You want Juan Soto that bad? You got to come and get him. And I'm talking about the Yankees.
Yeah.
You know, like, hey, who's their top prospect, Brent, that we were talking about that you think is awesome for the Yankees?
You've been studying the system?
Jason Dominguez,
Jason Dominguez.
Okay.
center fielder.
And he is viewed as like one of the best prospects in the game. If you can pull a Jason Dominguez and maybe a couple other prospects,
Mhm. Some pitching,
and you've just freed up $33 million, you can go out and make a signings for a couple pitchers. You have a outfielder that I don't know if he's going to be the next Juan Soto, but hey, crazier things have happened.
Yeah, but okay. So let's go down that path. You go get a center field prospect that pays dividends within 2 years. Maybe you get some starting pitching that could help you right now, and maybe some future starting pitching as well. But you know what you don't have?
Juan Soto.
Correct. And not only your best hitter last year, and we can be critical of what he did. It was not a perfect year, and he didn't come through in the clutch. Nobody really did. He was far and away their best hitter. There's not a close second.
I know.
Like Tatis, you would say, had the second best offensive season, and it was like 100+ points of on-base plus slugging below Juan Soto. So, yeah, I love the idea of a 20-year-old outfield prospect.
He had 4 home runs and 30 at-bats last year for the Yankees.
Great. On that pace, so I'm sure he'll hit 100 next year. But you know what I mean? Like, I like the idea of what is being sold, but the other idea I really like is plugging Juan Soto in 162 times and him getting on base 2 times a game. I really like that.
I know. I trust. I love it too. I'm with you.
So that's why it's got to be, to your point, you can't be meeting someone like they got to come to you.
Yep.
You can't bend here. Okay.
No.
Oh, that's all you can do. Okay. No, they got to really, I mean, again, you're not getting the 5 players you gave up.
Yeah.
Okay, understandable. He's got 1 year left, but I'm going to need like 3 legitimate. I'm sold fully on these players' abilities to impact me now.
Right. Because you have to almost, if you're AJ Preller, make it seem to all the other GMs that are potentially going to be calling, and most likely it's just Brian Cashman with the Yankees because
there's others calling.
I know, but it feels like the Yankees are the team that desperately wants Juan Soto more than any team in baseball.
Right.
You have to kind of convince them that you are willing to keep Juan Soto for next season, that you're not in a position where you have to trade him to build out a cohesive roster and fill holes that you have from last year. You have to make it seem like, fine, you're not going to give us what we want. We are going to be perfectly fine keeping Juan Soto.
Mm-hmm.
You can't make it seem like we need to get this money off the books, because if we don't right now, it's going to be tough for us to build a good enough roster to compete next year.
Well, which is kind of what he told you yesterday, which is like, we love our position players. Now we recognize we have other holes. Would we listen? Yeah, but we'd love to go, to battle, so to speak, with our position players. So
Right.
he left it open, but he wasn't like, hey, listen, I'm glad you asked. We really need to move them. Again, of course, why would you position yourself that way? But his answer yesterday wasn't, hey, we got to move them, but it was, hey, we really like where we're at. But if someone makes us an offer that makes us better, okay, we'll listen.
Yeah.
We'll listen.
So that's why I think, the next 13 days.
Yep.
I don't know. I feel like that's going to happen, man. There's already a lot of talk right now about Juan Soto, and we're not even at the winter meetings yet.
Correct.
It could heat up. And oh, by the way, the Shohei Ohtani domino, whenever that falls, isn't that interesting? You're hearing nothing about the Padres and Shohei Ohtani. And all we heard last offseason, get ready for AJ Preller to go after Shohei Ohtani.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
No, they're going to be they're very quiet around free agency in general. The Padres,
what they did with Scott Barlow getting De Los Santos, I would expect those types of moves this offseason.
And I don't even know how many you can pull off like that. If you look at this Padres roster,
I thought that was a good move.
Yeah, it's great. It's fine. They save money. I'm just saying, you look at this roster, find me a comparable Scott Barlow type, the $6 million player. Doesn't even exist. You've got $30 million players. You have players under 7 or 8 year contracts that are owed $80 million. And then you have Trent Grisham. You know, like, so yeah, you could do it with a Grisham. But other than that, like Suarez, I don't see it. The big money Cronenworths, I don't see it. Kim, you don't want to do it. You don't want to move him.
No.
He's not making enough money to move him. So, like, I don't see a lot of players like Scott Barlow that they can move. I think they might be motivated to move a player like Jay Cronenworth. It's hard to imagine someone wants to take on the $80 million that he's owed.
True.
You know,
I get it. But yeah, man, I just think there's going to be, a lot of moves this offseason that I don't know if Padres fans will truly like, which is one of them is Juan Soto. Depending on who they get back. Like I said, the Jason Dominguez thing, that name has been thrown out there. I don't know if the Yankees are willing to trade Jason Dominguez at all because he's such a highly, ranked prospect and highly viewed in their organization. But AJ's got to have a price and he's got to stick to it. And he can't lower it at all. I see all these stupid fake trades from Yankees homers online, and they're all the dumbest things ever. It's like, you guys realize AJ's not going to trade Juan Soto for a bunch of nothing, right?
I would hope not. I hope not.
I hope not either.
I mean, even trading him for a bunch of something doesn't necessarily work. I mean, just because you get the 3 top prospects in the Yankees organization guarantees you.
Yeah. Well,
what?
And we know AJ Preller, when he's aggressive and he goes at something full bore, he more than often than not gets a perceived good deal. Now, a lot of times it doesn't work out, but from the initial jump, you're like, "Whoa, AJ Preller did that," and then eventually down the road, you're like, "Oh, that didn't work out." But from the jump, it doesn't seem like AJ Preller ever gets like fleeced.
Yeah, from the jump. I will say this though, and you'll see it on Padres Twitter. Oh man, look at everything they got for Juan Soto. I mean,
yeah,
it's an immediate spin. You're trading Juan Soto. It's an immediate spin. You prefer Juan Soto. On the other side, some of your reaction to Juan Soto. Would you move him or keep him? 70470. Start it with team. We've got an update for you on the Aztec head coaching hire in football. We've got Aztec football tickets to give away this hour as well. It's hour 2 of Jon and Jim. Stay with us. All right, you've been driving all day. You're in Southern California. You're getting home to family and friends. You're getting ready for the Thanksgiving weekend. Windmill Farms has you covered for all of your Thanksgiving needs. You can visit windmillfarmsmarket.com to see all their Thanksgiving specials, including Diestel all-natural whole turkeys, $4.97 per pound, red yams and sweet potatoes, $1.88 per pound, green beans, Brussels sprouts, or broccoli crowns, $1.99 per pound, or Beeler non-GMO spiral sliced ham, $5.97 per pound. Windmill Farms, family owned, serving San Diegans for over 2 decades. Their owner, Trevor, his mom, they've been in the grocery business with their family for forever. They've got you covered this Thanksgiving weekend. Whatever you need, Windmill Farms, the college area's natural grocer, has it for you. Farm fresh produce and meats, an amazing beer and kombucha selection, the full deli. Maybe you want to pick up a sandwich for lunch one of the days over the course of the weekend. They've got that deli. 8th sandwich is free with the sandwich card. They keep their prices incredibly low. They use great ingredients. Centrally located off Del Cerro Boulevard, across the freeway from Montezuma Mesa. Family owned in San Diego for over 20 years. If you don't live or work near Del Cerro, not a problem. You can find Windmill Farms on Instacart. Have your groceries delivered directly to your doorstep. Check out the Thanksgiving specials at windmillfarmsmarket.com. And again, shop local, shop at Windmill Farms. All right, what would you do? Keep him or trade him related to Juan Soto, plus the latest on the Aztecs head coaching search next.
All right, this update's brought to you by California Coast Credit Union. Tomorrow, triple header in the NFL on Thanksgiving, starting with the Lions taking on the Packers in the morning, followed by the Washington Commanders taking on the Dallas Cowboys at 1:30 p.m. You can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. The nightcap, Niners taking on the Seahawks, 5:20 kickoff there. My household is going to be a disaster if the Niners lose. Moving over to Saturday, when the Aztecs basketball team and Aztecs football team get underway as the Aztecs football team takes on Fresno State in their final game of this season, 7:30 kick. And before that, Aztecs basketball takes on Cal, 4 p.m. tip-off there. With MasterCard Local, CalCoast Credit Union members can earn 5% cash back on purchases made with CalCoast MasterCard credit and debit cards every time they shop at a participating business. Learn more at calcoastcu.org/shop-local.
All right, your chance to win Aztec tickets Saturday night, Snapdragon Stadium, coming up in about 10 minutes. Trainwreck Radio. 760 Jim, trade Soto. Too much baggage with this guy.
What?
He insists on hitting third. He's up there looking for walks. Frustrating watch.
Okay.
How many opportunities did he have late in games last year and never delivered? He's overrated. Let someone else deal with him this year.
He did have moments late in games, and I saw Ben Fadden put in the chat, he had no PS over 1,000 with runners in scoring position.
Yes.
You know how many times he had hits with runners in scoring position when the team was already up by like a couple runs?
I don't.
Probably a lot.
Probably.
If you just watched the games last year, there were a lot of times Juan Soto had an opportunity when the team was trailing and didn't come through.
Yeah, I would agree.
I don't have the numbers in front of me, but the eye test, that's what I saw. The one hit that I can remember from Juan Soto when the team was trailing, that was a huge hit, and it didn't really even matter, was when they were facing off against the Dodgers in LA when they were like, who cares anymore?
Right.
And he hits I think a 3-run homer in the top of the 9th inning versus the Dodgers. And they won that game. That was like when I looked, I was like, wow, that's like the first moment I can remember this season when the Padres were trailing with Juan Soto at the plate, and he came through in a big moment.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, if you just look at the sheer numbers, to Ben Fadden's point, like listen to this. Runners in scoring position. There's your stat. Okay. Take away all circumstance. Up big, down big, tie game, whatever.
Yeah.
299, 439 on base, 576 slugging for an OPS of 1,016. I'm with you. That doesn't scream what I saw with my own two eyes. I'll give you a couple of more, though.
There's a lot of stat padding with this team. You have to remember that, too.
Like, listen to this. I don't remember this.
They had like a run differential of like over 100.
Bases loaded, 1,600 OPS. Second and third, 1,400 OPS. I don't really remember it, but I guess it happened.
There was an article that Kevin wrote, and he did a great job on it, where he looked at all the clutch numbers for this team.
Yeah, I remember that.
And they were all horrific.
Yeah, I do remember that.
So, yeah.
So we're not buying it.
I'm not fully buying it. I think Juan Soto's a great player. But at the same time, like, he could have had a better season last year. No doubt about it.
Yeah, definitely. I would agree. But this idea that, hey, he's always hunting walks and he wants to hit third, he's got no value.
Like, give me a break. What was our 360 number?
I was 760.
Okay.
It's 360 says trade him. The Cowboys traded their best player, it turned into 3 Super Bowls. I don't know how.
What?
Yeah, I don't. So the Herschel Walker trade is the reason to move Juan Soto? I don't know.
Because they drafted well?
Yeah.
And the NFL is like, if you can't trade for draft picks in baseball, it'd be kind of stupid.
What about 619 that says Soto's not a 5-tool player? He only has a good bat. Yes, we'll lose a good bat, but we'll gain good pitching. Guys, we already have 3 superstars without Soto. We are good. We just got to fill gaps. But those 3 superstars didn't produce to the level you had hoped.
Oh, my God.
And then 858 says, you don't trade Soto on a walk here. He's going to go off. No matter what they do, it'll probably be the wrong decision. You trade him, yeah, it probably will haunt you.
Juan Soto is a 25-year-old generational type of player.
Yes.
So you guys think he's all trash? Give me a break.
I mean, Yankees still.
That's going to happen.
That's what I'm saying. That's another reason not to move him.
The reason being he's in a walk year. You want to maximize that walk year. Usually guys in walk years perform. Example, Blake Snell and Josh Hader this past season. And you want to try to maximize that and capitalize on it.
Mm-hmm.
We knew when he was traded here a year and a half ago, the likelihood of him staying here, probably slim.
Yeah, but it felt less slim back then.
It did. But I just think once they gave that $280 million contract and $350 million contract and $80 million contract to Bogarts, Manny, and Cronenworth, and then $100+ million contract to Yu Darvish, I'm thinking to myself,
those were indicators that he wouldn't be back.
Yeah, I'm just like, I don't know if they're going to be able to give a $500 million contract out to even though Peter said he liked handing out $500 million contracts. No.
Yeah. All right. 844-570-1360. Keep him or trade him. Juan Soto. Greg wants to weigh in. Greg, you're on with Jon and Jim.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
If you're looking at it logically, you should be trading him because, you look at even just like, last year, Snell and Hader didn't move at the trade deadline, most likely not getting anything for him. You can keep them. Problem is, like you said, you had 3-4 bats in the lineup, didn't produce. You have all these big contracts. It's one of those things where it's like, what do you get out of $300 million or $400, whatever the price tag is, when you get only one player, or do you get 3-4 guys for that $400 million? This year, for the most part, nobody was hurt. Yeah, some of the pitchers got hurt at the end of the year. Take that out of the equation. But you didn't have anybody hurt. Manny was banged up somewhat, but you didn't have a catastrophic injury. And now all these guys are a year older. The body, at some point does go out, and so you have 3-4 guys. You're not 100% wrapped up into one player.
Greg, we appreciate the call, and if you want to weigh in on it, 844-570-1360. Keep him or let him go. He's saying if you think about it logically, you should move him. And that may be accurate. That may be accurate. If you think about it logically, they should move him. $33 million tied up in one player on a $200 million payroll. 1/6 of the payroll. 1/6 of every dollar spent would be on Juan Soto. You're already spending 1/6 of your dollars on Machado, 1/6 of your dollars on Tatis. Like, it adds up quick. You get to 200 quick when everyone's making 30.
Yeah.
Real quick.
And the escalators of 30 million a year for Tatis, I don't think that's kicked in fully yet. Same thing with Manny.
When you say escalator, well, it depends on how you're looking at it. Average annual valuation or money owed per year.
Money owed per year.
Money owed per year, technically in actual dollars, is less now than it is then. But their average annual valuation includes whatever the heck they make divided by their contract years. Machado, 350 divided by 11. Is it an 11-year deal or 10? 10.
10?
Okay, he's making 35 a year AAV.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm just okay.
You know what I mean? Like, it's all I'm with you.
Yeah.
It may free up some cat. They might not technically give the man $35 million,
right.
but on the books, according to Major League Baseball, looking at like those CBT numbers, he's making $35 million a year.
Yeah.
Well, he's not actually being paid $35 million each and every year.
Right.
They're just in a tough spot. They're just in a tough spot financially.
They are.
And how do you get out of it? I don't know.
I don't know either. I like in the chat on YouTube, Gunther says we just make stuff up.
Yeah, I don't know if he was talking to us or not.
I don't know, but
or if he's talking to the chat.
Oh.
I mean, his name is Gunther P. Sparks, dude.
True.
Oh, just how the players would rather Flaherty. We didn't write that, Gunther. Dennis did.
Dennis wrote that.
Dennis Lynn.
Yeah, Dennis Lynn, capital J journalist, wrote that. If you
Gunther,
listen,
you're in timeout, man.
Yeah, if you listen, then you would know that we're not making up the S. We are talking about reports, buddy.
Yeah. I mean,
Like, what have you? People are so stupid sometimes.
I have something I want to tell people. The players preferred Benji Gill.
Yeah, give me a break.
844-570-1360. Come on, Gunther P. Sparks.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the phones real quick. John, you're on with Jon and Jim.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Hey, guys. How's it going? Hope all is well with you.
What's up, man?
What's up, man?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with the caller earlier. I mean, Soto should be traded. But, you know, we also have to consider, you know, Ha-Seong Kim is also in a contract year as well. And several other players that we really, really want to keep around the organization. I mean, as much as I'd like to keep Soto, we also have 3 large contracts that we still have to pay off. And if we just tie up ourselves in another one, then what are we really going to end up with at the end of the day? Just a bunch of minor leaguers or just a bunch of free agents who are pretty low. I love Juan Soto, and I have a feeling he will bite us in the butt later on in the playoffs. But at the end of the day, we got to get some sort of valuation for what we gave up in order to get him, basically.
Thank you, John. If you'd like to weigh in, you can text us 70470 started with team.
Yeah, you have to try. I mean, it's going to be hard to get anywhere close to the value for Juan Soto like you did trading away for him. Like,
the reason being because he's not worth as much because you don't have 2.5 years of control. You have 1.
Yeah, if you had 2.5 years of control,
then you get exactly what you gave up.
Yeah, exactly. You get a 1, 2, a 3, a 5, and a 6.
I think they could get a ton for him. I really do believe that. I don't think they're getting the exact same of what they gave up. I still think they could get a ton for him. All right, call right now if you want 2 free tickets for Saturday night. Snapdragon Stadium Senior Night. Celebrate Senior Night with the Aztecs. First 10,000 fans get a free San Diego State beanie. Tickets and info at goaztecs.com. First 2 callers will be our contestants for Trainwreck Radio. 844-570-1360. You need to call right now. 844-570-1360. We have 2 free tickets for Saturday night at Snapdragon Stadium. The rivalry renewed. San Diego State and Fresno State with a giveaway as well. Call right now if you want those 2 free tickets, if you want to play sports trivia or trivia in general. 844-570-1360. Pick up the phone right now and call. That's next. All right, Ryan just dropped off. Who wants to play Tom in Trainwreck Radio? It's trivia. Your chance to win 2 free tickets for this Saturday night at Snapdragon Stadium, the Aztecs and the Fresno State Bulldogs with a beanie giveaway. You need to call right now if you want to play and win those 2 free tickets to see the Aztecs Saturday night. Great giveaway. The number to call right now, 844-570-1360. Pick up your phone right now and call if you want to play Tom. 844-570-1360. Free Aztec tickets next. James, thank you so much for the super chat, guys.
Thanks,
Thank you for
James.
hanging out. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Appreciate it, James. Subscribe if you're here. We appreciate the supers. Great way to support the channel. We really do appreciate it. Click the $sign below the chat box. And it's interesting, James. He says another idea would be to trade Soto for pitching, try and win the World Series, then try signing Soto long-term in the offseason 2024. Unfortunately, it never works like that, right? Does anyone ever trade away a player and then get them back in free agency? There's examples, but they're so few and far between.
It really never happens.
Like, I feel like at that point, you've burned a bridge. You've traded the player. You're not then getting them back immediately.
Because if you were going to sign the player, why not just sign him before you trade? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Right. You get the pitching in the short term, and then you sign him in the long term, and you get to keep the pitching.
Like, oh, let's trade him to get some prospects, and then we'll just sign him in the offseason.
I just would be surprised if they signed him in general, James, no matter the circumstance.
Yeah, at this point, I would give it less than a 5%. Way
Yeah.
less than 5%.
Yeah, I'm with you. Now, to trade him to get pitching, I think that's absolutely realistic and could be the most likely path. But to trade him and then get him back and spend big on him in the offseason, I just don't know if that's going to happen or not. Thanks, guys. Appreciate the super chats. Click the $sign below the chat box. We'll be back to the show in a moment. And please subscribe. Thanks, guys. Garrett Fountain, senior, on this Aztec football team that will play on senior night, Saturday night. We're giving away tickets in a moment. He will join us coming up at 5:30 off the practice field. We have tickets to give away in the 5 o'clock hour for, what do we have tickets for? Let me guess. Legoland, California. Very good giveaway in the 5 o'clock hour. Legoland Holidays Gym is here. Presented by the Hallmark Channel.
Well, apparently in the iHeart studios, it's already Christmas time,
Yes.
which I was not a fan of.
You're saying the door is decorated?
Not a fan of, guys. Come on, it's not even Thanksgiving yet. It's tomorrow.
So you need to wait until the Black Friday weekend
Yeah,
to turn the page.
I have my stance, and I'm sticking to it. You got to wait till after Thanksgiving to start decorating for Christmas.
Okay.
Like, you can do it tomorrow night after you're done with your Thanksgiving meal. That's totally fine. But you got to have Thanksgiving first before you start decorating for Christmas time. I don't care.
Sir, this is a Wendy's.
This is a bad etiquette, guys. I'm
Okay.
sorry. I'm throwing the station under the bus. Yeah, I did that.
All right, let's play.
I'm sure our boss is listening.
Yeah,
Oh, wait.
Noreen, did you hear that?
Oh, wait. What boss?
Yeah, just get fired. You're fine. Just say whatever you want. Keep going.
Well,
Yeah.
watch me.
Yeah, watch it. I'm sure our boss is listening. What boss? Yeah, good job.
3 questions.
You're such an idiot.
All right, today's 2 contestants. We have Tom and Jaime. Tom, you called in first, so you have your choice of Jon or Jim. Who do you want to go with today?
Well, I did like the back of Jim's head yesterday at the presser.
Okay, you know what?
I'm gonna go Team John.
Oh, wow. So wait, that was Tom? All right, Tom and John.
Tom, that was not cool, buddy. I hope you lose in an epic fashion. Who's
Jaime.
Jaime. Okay. Jaime, you get me, all right?
All right, sounds good.
All right, perfect. Brent, question of the day. What is it?
All right, guys, tomorrow's Thanksgiving.
Wait, what?
Yeah, in case you hadn't heard.
Huh?
You sure?
According to a poll done by American adults, they select the most popular Thanksgiving foods that they dislike.
Oh, yes.
So today's question: name any of the top 8 most hated Thanksgiving foods. These don't have to be sides. They don't have to be, they can be any Thanksgiving food. But this was a poll done by a travel company called The Vacationer, where they polled for the most hated Thanksgiving foods.
All right.
Most
So
hated.
most hated
Top
Thanksgiving
8
foods.
Yep.
All right. I like this. Jaime, you are up first, buddy. What is your first guess? You do have your lifeline if you want to use it.
Cranberry sauce.
Cranberry sauce.
I love it.
Boom. Of course you do.
It's like my favorite thing.
I know
Number
it is.
one.
It's so good.
That's such a on-brand thing
sweet.
for you to like cranberry sauce.
Love it. So
What do you
tasty. I
put it on?
Just on a spoon or a fork? I would just eat it straight. Oh my god! Yeah, absolutely.
Tom,
cut like a ring of that thing. Oh, so good.
Ew, gross. Tom, you're up next, buddy. What's your first guess?
He took my first guess there, but I'm going to have to say green beans.
Green
I like
beans.
that. I
Not
would've
green
gone
bean
with that.
casserole, just straight up green beans.
Green beans.
Now, I want to clarify. Do you mean green beans or green bean casserole?
I'll go with the casserole.
Casserole for the tie.
I think that's a really
Yes.
What? People don't like green bean casserole?
No, apparently not.
Bottom 8.
I'm not one of these
You
people.
know what they're missing. Jaime, you're up next, buddy. What's your second guess? You do have your lifeline if you want to use it.
Sure. I'll go with the lifeline because all the other stuff I like.
I'm gonna go with. See. I think I don't like it. I wouldn't like it on Thanksgiving. I don't even know if it's on. I'm gonna go Brussels sprouts. Even though I'm sure John loves it.
Love Brussels
Of
sprouts.
course you do. So my guess is Brussels sprouts. Would you take that or go another route?
Absolutely. Go with that.
Least like.
Wow.
What? Okay, hold on.
These are tasty and delicious.
Hold on. Real quick.
I didn't really know Brussels sprouts were a Thanksgiving
I agree with
food.
that. I agree with that.
People would choose Brussels sprouts over green bean casserole?
No, but he's
It's
saying
not
that
an
Brussels sprouts
option.
people aren't even eating it on Thanksgiving.
I think some people might be eating
Maybe
it.
some
Well,
people.
some might, but it's not like,
Not tens of millions.
if you're setting up like a photo shoot of a Thanksgiving dinner table, I don't think you're. Oh wait, we forgot the Brussels sprouts.
All right, doors open here for Tom.
What do you got, man? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it. With John, it'd probably be like, I don't know, whatever. What do you got?
I'm going to go with sweet potatoes.
Sweet potato. Wow, on the bottom 8.
Did he just win?
He's got 2-1 lead.
Oh, 2-1 lead.
That's
Okay.
number 2.
Jaime, you need this to stay in the game. You don't have a lifeline anymore. What do you got?
Pumpkin pie.
Sweet potato pie. Stuffing.
Stuffing bottom 8. The game's over. No chance.
Oh, what?
There's no chance stuffing's in the bottom of 8.
Stuffing? If it's in the bottom 8, this
This
list is rigged.
It's on the. Come on.
No.
Wait, why do you have a winner? We're tied at 2.
Yeah, we're tied at 2. We're going to the final round.
All right, no, everyone relax. It's on the list. We're still tied at 2. Tom has a chance
So
to walk
basically, just
off.
name a Thanksgiving.
Just name something.
Name something.
Turkey.
Yeah, turkey. Gravy.
Okay, we're tied at 2. Stuffing is somehow on the list. Where is it? Where is it in the top 8?
5.
5th.
Tom, you can win it right here. What do you got? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
Right. Yeah, that surprised me there. I'll use my lifeline.
I mean, I got no clue now that
I know this whole stuffing thing is just
ridiculous.
no
This
way.
is sides.
No, it can be anything.
Anything.
Oh man,
White meat.
I said that at the beginning, but you weren't listening again.
All right, I'm gonna say white meat turkey.
It's like the most popular thing. Will you take it, Tom?
I don't know. I thought stuffing would have no chance. I'm gonna go pumpkin pie.
Pumpkin pie bottom 8. It's pie.
If it's on the list, dude, I'm done.
I'm done with this list.
It's over if it's on this list.
It's on the list.
No
Come
chance.
on,
I'm done.
Brent.
Number 8.
Done.
Was
No
turkey on the
chance.
list?
No
Turkey
chance.
is on the list.
Turkey's on the list,
No
dude.
chance.
Turkey's on the list.
Basically, all
Everything's on the
everything's
list.
on the list. So the
Yeah.
entire Thanksgiving meal is on the list.
All right, let's hear it. What's on the list?
All right,
What?
8's pumpkin pie, 7 coleslaw, which is disgusting. That's the only one I agree with. 6 is ham.
Okay.
5 was stuffing. 4 was turkey.
4 was turkey. Okay.
3 was green bean casserole. 2 was sweet potatoes, and number 1 was disgusting cranberry sauce.
What a list. All right, Tom, you've won a pair of tickets for San Diego State, Fresno State, Saturday at Snapdragon Stadium. Turkey and pumpkin pie.
Turkey and stuffing.
Celebrate senior night with the Aztecs. The first 10,000 fans get a San Diego State beanie. Tickets and info at goaztecs.com. On the other side, Jim set the narrative yesterday with his questioning of AJ Preller on Juan Soto. Does Soto stay?
I said the narrative.
Does Soto stay or go? Plus, Garrett Fountain, San Diego State senior defensive lineman, will join us at 5:30. Plus, we have that 4-pack to give away to Legoland, California. Hour 3 of Jon and Jim next.
All right, this update is brought to you by California Coast Credit Union. Triple header tomorrow on Thanksgiving in the NFL. First up, 9:30 a.m. kickoff between the Lions and the Packers. 1:30 p.m. Cowboys take on the Commanders, and 5:20 the nightcap. The Niners taking on the Seahawks. And this Saturday, Aztecs basketball and football. First up, basketball as they take on Cal, the SoCal Classic, 4 p.m. tip-off there. Following that game will be the San Diego State Aztecs taking on Fresno State. 7:30 kickoff. Of course, you listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. With MasterCard Local, Cal Coast Credit Union members can earn 5% cash back on purchases made with Cal Coast MasterCard credit and debit cards every time they shop at participating businesses. Learn more at calcoastcu.org/shop-local. And tonight, the final Brady Hoke Coaches Show with John Rich and Coach Hoke at 6 p.m.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is the final hour of Jon and Jim. Hopefully your drive is going smoothly on this day before Thanksgiving, Wednesday night.
I think people are thinking to themselves, wait, so my Thanksgiving meal sucks?
Yeah, if you have turkey on your list, it sucks. If you have ham, if you've got stuffing, potatoes. Were potatoes on the list, Brett?
Sweet potatoes
No,
on the list?
Just
Sweet potatoes.
Just
Sweet
sweet
potatoes.
potatoes.
Cranberry sauce, which is like my
Ugh,
favorite.
I hate cranberries.
You love cranberry sauce.
Apparently, all this food is hated.
Sucks.
Everything sucks. All right, before we get back to the Padres, there is a little bit of a developing story related to the Aztecs head football coaching search going on. I think I'm saying that wrong. Like the search for a head football coach.
Okay.
Right? Brady Hoke's about to coach his final game Saturday.
Yeah.
We have senior night. Garrett Fountain, Aztec senior defensive lineman, will join us coming up at 5:30. So we learned yesterday from Bruce Feldman. Excuse me, I'm dying. We learned yesterday from Bruce Feldman that UNLV offensive coordinator Brennan Marion had interviewed for the job. Kirk Kenney has added some additional, information. Okay, here's the information from Kirk Kenney. Marion interviewed Tuesday for the job, and according to Kirk Kenney, would love to bring his go-go offense to San Diego. Story to come. So
Where's
did
the story
Kirk
at?
speak to Brennan Marion? I guess he did if he says he'd love to bring his quote-unquote go-go offense to San Diego.
Is he going to bring like some players with him?
Is he going to bring their freshman quarterback that is setting the Mountain West
He's
on
gonna
fire?
pull a Dion and just bring everyone.
I mean, that's an interesting question. That's a really interesting
'Cause
question.
If that's the case, I think then you'd have to really consider that, even though it would be, I think, deemed risky just because he's 36 years old. He thought I was 36 years old. Like, imagine me being the head coach of the Aztecs.
That sounds like a terrible idea just because it's you.
But I'm saying how old I am. 36-year-old. Who's their quarterback?
I don't know exactly how to say it. Jaden Mayava, who is completing 64% of his passes, Jim. Listen to this. He's got a 153 rating, 13 touchdowns, 6 picks. I think this is in like half a year because their starter, Brumfeld, got hurt 2 or 3 games in. So 64% of his passes.
How many games has he played?
I think he started like 6 or 7.
So that's pretty good.
Now, is
That's
he
like
running it
around,
well? Yeah, I don't know enough about him.
Okay. Me neither. I don't
Okay.
really follow. I don't follow UNLV football,
How many games has he started, you ask?
fortunately.
Yeah, I don't know the answer. Like, if you make a hire offensive coach, are you bringing your quarterback with you? Is it like a package deal? Does it even work like that?
You can
I
do
would
it
think in
now.
the era of the portal, it kind of works like that.
Yeah, you can easily do that now. Like, it's, as Deion Sanders says, it's free agency.
Every year.
Every single year, it's free agency.
Right.
You don't have to worry about if guys transfer, they have to sit out a year. Like, no, they can play right away.
Right. True.
So that's another component to this whole thing. Is if you go out and you get an offensive guy, can they bring some of their players that they're coaching right now with them?
Right.
You know? So I don't know. It'd be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm reading when you just Google Brendan Marion, you know what comes up a lot? Rising star. crazy trajectory, headed for the Power Five, could be an OC at a top 15 program. Like you're seeing all this glowing praise of this guy. Glowing. Texas had success. UNLV, they're 9-2. The top 20 scoring offense. Like how? They've never been there previously, ever. So he has to get credit. Barry Odom, their head coach, has to get credit too. I'm excited to read what Kirk Kenny writes because apparently Brendan Marion is excited to bring his what he calls his go-go offense to San Diego.
Go gadget.
Then there was you yesterday with AJ Preller, that exclusive, if you will. Sit down conversation. You were sitting, he was sitting.
Oh, yeah,
Sit down conversation.
I guess you could call it that.
Now, we have it, right, Brian? From earlier. Jim's question to AJ, the more I hear it, the more I hear the
I don't want to.
It's like, here's what I'm hearing. You're kind of short of breath as you ask the question. Is that fair? Like you're like just trying to get through it. Take us back to that moment. What were you? Is your heart beating fast? Mine would be.
I don't think my heart was beating fast, dude. It was a random spur of the moment. I'm gonna ask a question type of thing, and then I started talking. I was like, "Oh,
What am I saying?
what's happening right now?" You know, because
Well, you set the narrative for the next 24 hours of Padres talk.
it's like when you're in front of a bunch of your peers and you're in front and like, oh, you're not. If it was a sit down setting, it'd be completely different, like a one-on-one. But public speaking for me in front of a room, I can do it. Like if I stand on, if I'm like looking out to the crowd, like it's much easier for me to do that.
As opposed to just sitting there with a microphone and like Dennis is to your left and Kevin's to your right and Eric Rupner's a row in front of you and AJ Preller's there.
Yeah, and they're probably thinking to themselves,
"Oh, this guy."
Hard-hitting question.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that. Stupid moron.
Okay, this is what it sounded like. Jim Russell yesterday asking AJ Preller about Juan Soto. And asking. Sounds so scared. Sir? So let me not answer your question. Although he kind of did. By his standards, that's an answer.
He said he said that they'll listen.
They'll listen.
That's a far cry from being definitive, like Scott Boras was.
Right. Boris is like he's staying.
Like we know their plans.
They gave us a PDF and he's in the middle of the PDF.
Yeah, it says Juan Soto in big bold 40-letter font.
Yeah.
Juan Soto's on this team next year.
Right.
Didn't hear that from AJ. And usually with a year left on your deal, you don't really like it. It was interesting.
I think it was interesting
when you think about it. Like, okay, I'm asking a question about a guy with 1 year left on his deal. Is he going to be here next season?
I said maybe.
And he's like, well,
We'll listen on him.
We'll listen on him. We'll look at all options.
We like our position players, but yeah, we'd listen.
That doesn't scream he's going to be here next year.
That to me was newsworthy, which then set up Ken Rosenthal in his very popular podcast at YouTube, Foul Territory.
Very popular.
Where Ken Rosenthal went a lot further than AJ Preller did yesterday and said this.
I do expect that he is going to get traded. And the Padres, I'm sure, would love to keep him, but the finances are one thing and their need for starting pitching is another. They have lost a lot of pitchers, period, from their staff, including Hader at the back end of their bullpen. So it seems to me that flipping him would be the way to go, both from a financial perspective, which we've written about, and even a baseball perspective. Obviously, you're better with Juan Soto than without him. But if you can turn him into 3 or 4 players that can help you down the line, that might be the way to go. The one point I wanted to make regarding an extension, and let's say if the Yankees trade for him, is that Soto is represented by Scott Boras. Scott Boras' clients generally do not sign extensions. He encourages them to go to the open market and to establish their value there. That is almost always the case with Boras' clients. There are exceptions, but I don't expect Soto to be one of them. And keep in mind, as you guys mentioned, the 440 is out there. He turned that down. So with regard to waiting to trade for him and then waiting to sign him until after Ohtani, I don't know that any of that really applies because he's not going to sign, in my opinion. If the Yankees throw $500 million at him, okay, maybe. But if you're Scott Boras and the Yankees throw $500 million at him without the benefit of free agency, why not just wait for free agency? So that part of it, I don't see happening. If you trade for Juan Soto, you're getting him for 1 year.
All right, so he expects Juan Soto to be traded. Ken Rosenthal's words. He expects Juan Soto to be traded. Not that they want to, but kind of they have to because of money.
And that you're trading for a guy for 1 year.
Correct.
Okay. See, I made this argument last year when they're on the trade deadline for Shohei Ohtani. A team like Baltimore, who is never, ever in a million years going to be able to sign Shohei Ohtani in the offseason or any real, massive time free agent, I feel like, for potentially probably a while, right? But they were in a position to go out there, and they did. They won the AL East, and they folded in the playoffs because they're very young. But my point is, they have an opportunity to do something that they wouldn't be able to do. Maybe if you're AJ, do you call a team like that? Like, hey, we know it's like probably unlikely he's going to sign with you guys, but you're almost over the top and you need help. Like maybe you go that route and see if you can get some really good prospects from an organization that has really good prospects.
I wonder if you're calling it all.
That's true. Probably sitting there and you're just waiting
I
for them
think
to
the
call
position of strength is you need to take the call because that then makes it appear as if you're not desperate and you don't need to move them. You're taking the call. Hey, I'll listen, but I'm not proactively trying to move the player. I think if you're proactively trying to move the player, you're not getting the best value for him. If you get calls, best case scenario is you're getting calls from multiple teams and you're playing up the offer.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you get something that you can't say no to. I think they'll get legitimate offers. Make no mistake. They will get legitimate offers. The question becomes, are they actually, when everything, at the end of the day, are they actually willing to move the player? And based on what AJ Preller told you, yes, they'll listen. And based on what Ken Rosenthal is saying.
He told everybody, John. He
told it to you.
Okay, just me.
Only
I heard it.
He looked in your general area when he said it.
He's like, who is that?
I said, Jim, I'm glad to hear from you.
He's like, yeah, finally he's face to face we meet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though I've met AJ Preller face to face before.
It would have been amazing if your question was like, will you come on the show? We're on from 3 to 6. Will you come on one day?
San Diego Sports 760. Jim Russell here. AJ, you got time today around like 4?
Back-to-back UT winner. Maybe you heard of us?
Yeah. We won a couple awards.
All right. So there's that. There's Juan Soto's future. And then there's, the bombshell from Dennis Lin. Some players actually wanted Ryan Flaherty over Mike Shildt. Like the day after the hire. Hey, Mike, go win over the team because they need to be won over. And by the way, there are players on the active roster that preferred Ryan Flaherty to you. And it hasn't even been a day. And that's what we've uncovered from the reporting of Dennis Lin. That's the state of the Padres heading into 2024.
What was the exact line? I have it here. Hold on. It was some execs and players preferred Ryan Flaherty over Mike Shildt.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty open-ended. That's interesting. Which is fine. It's like if you asked 100 of our listeners, some will say they prefer Jon to Jim and some will say they prefer Jim to Jon. I don't think it's personal. I don't know if that means they don't like Mike Shildt. Maybe they just like Ryan Flaherty too. I don't think it sounds great. You don't hear that typically around baseball. Hey, here's the hire. Craig Counsell's been hired by the Cubs. A lot of people actually preferred whomever. Like you don't typically hear that. So it's a little bit of a surprise to hear that.
Another thing that Dennis said in his piece, Preller on Tuesday said he did not spend much time soliciting the opinions of Padres players during the team's search for another manager. This might not be unusual in the industry, but it's worth noting that San Diego's clubhouse is unlike most clubhouses.
Yeah, like you almost have to have their approval before doing something.
It says the Padres roster includes several powerful stars with long-term 9-figure contracts. That group includes Manny Machado, who's close with Flaherty. Walking the line between friend and manager might have been difficult for Flaherty. For Shildt, earning Machado's trust and the trust of other players could pose a different but equal challenge, especially if Flaherty or other coaches end up leaving the organization.
No, good luck.
So if Ryan Flaherty leaves, is Manny Machado going to hold that against Mike Shildt because his buddy left because he didn't get the job? I mean, give me a break if that's the case.
These additional dynamics.
Like if that truly is
the case,
just massive eye roll. Just massive eye roll. Give me a break. Can we not be professional? Can we be professional here, guys? I mean, what were we doing?
Do you think before Mike Shildt was hired, they had weeks on this? Do you think before Mike Shildt was hired, they conferred with Manny Machado?
No.
In no way.
Well, I just read it. It said
no, it didn't say that. It didn't say that. It said they didn't take a ton of input from the players. It didn't say Manny Machado wasn't conferred.
Okay, maybe he was talked. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Read it again.
Preller on Tuesday said he did not spend much time soliciting the opinions of Padres players.
Okay. Does that mean no time? Like, do you do anything without involving Manny Machado is my point. If he's Mr. Second most powerful guy in the organization and they didn't call him on Mike Shildt, that would surprise me.
I would think and I would hope that Manny would want to know what's going on.
Right.
I would think and hope that Manny, being one of the most powerful people in this organization, highest paid player on the team, the quote unquote captain of the team, the quote unquote leader of the team, the guy that runs that clubhouse, I would hope that he is involved to a point of like wanting to know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But we've heard Manny a lot say that he just goes out there and plays baseball. Whatever happens, happens.
Right. He downplays his role in the power structure.
Yeah.
We've got 26 leaders, right? Mm-hmm. It's not just me. We have 26 players that are captain.
Yeah. So I read those things and then I hear Dennis today with Darren and I just wish this wasn't the case.
Dude, there's no way. Here's how I look at it. There's no way Manny Machado living on Coronado recovering from surgery during a 4-week managerial process was not confided in.
Oh, no, I'm not saying he wasn't.
But now I don't know what he said. Maybe he said, go hire Ryan Flaherty, and they didn't. Maybe. I have no idea. I'm just saying it would very much surprise me if he was kept in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
Very much surprise me if he was kept in the dark. What do you got, Brent, for Garrett? At 5:30 if we can. 5:30 if we can, right? Because we'd have to break. Garrett Fountain, San Diego State senior defensive lineman, will join us coming up in 8 or 9 minutes, getting ready for senior day. Let's talk to Larry real quick. Larry wants to weigh in.
Hi, Larry.
Hey, Larry, you're on with Jon and Jim. Thanks for calling.
Hey, guys, thanks. Happy Thanksgiving to you.
You too, man.
If Manny was or was not consulted, does that mean he's going to be part of and contribute to our new culture? Weigh in on that, guys. What do you think?
What do you? Hold on, Larry. Larry, what do you?
Okay, I'm still here.
Yeah, what do you mean by that?
Well, after what he was saying about how we don't have culture or he doesn't believe in culture, and now does he need to be consulted about our future culture?
Oh, I got what you're saying. Okay,
it's a joke, guys.
Yeah, I think
kind of like you can't win with Manny.
Like, does he have to like? Hey, our future culture is this. Is he okay with that, Manny?
I kind of look at it this way. I'm sure that they did call him, but if he would have just been adamant, like, no, you can't hire Shildt, then I think he would have thrown a bigger fit than, and they might not have done it. I think it's more, we keep doing the Thanksgiving analogies. Just because he preferred, apple pie doesn't mean that he's not going to eat blueberry if that's what there is to eat. So, just because he preferred Flaherty doesn't mean that, he's got a Shildt voodoo doll in his locker or something.
I mean, at the end of the day, if he's got to play for me, he's got to play for me.
Yeah,
that goes back to the original point. Like, you just got to, you just got to play.
Yeah, we might be overblowing it because Manny probably sitting there like, okay, whatever, But at the same time, it's not nothing to see and it would be reported that, Mike Shildt's going to have to win over some of these guys.
Yeah, that's not. I mean, again, Melvin's first call is to Showalter. What makes him tick? Like, they understand it's a relationship business.
Mm-hmm.
You don't just walk in and all of a sudden have a relationship established. You have to establish it. You have to get buy-in. That's what sports are.
Yep.
Mike Shildt said it yesterday. We'll need buy-in, and he said he's confident that won't be a problem based on his managing in St. Louis.
Well, just go out and perform. and
So easy.
you'll be good.
All right, on the other side, Garrett Fountain, San Diego State senior defensive lineman, wrapping up a 5-year career with the Aztecs. Senior night Saturday. He will join us to get ready for Brady Hook's final game, his final game. He'll join us next on Jon and Jim. Senior night for San Diego State, Saturday, Snapdragon Stadium. One of those seniors, Garrett Fountain, senior 5th-year defensive lineman, will join us next.
All right, this update is brought to you by the NFL on CBS, streaming on Paramount Plus. And tomorrow, a triple header on Thanksgiving. Lions, they're taking on the Packers at 9:30 a.m., followed by the Cowboys and Commanders at 1:30. And the nightcap is the Niners and Seahawks from Seattle, 5:20 kickoff there. Saturday afternoon, or I guess Saturday night, Aztecs basketball and football. First up, basketball is to take on Cal. 4:00 tip off there. Immediately following that game will be the pregame show for the Aztecs Fresno State game. Kickoff there is at 7:30. It's the final game of Brady Hoke's coaching career, and it's also the battle for the old oil can, and it's senior night for the Aztecs at Snapdragon Stadium. This Thanksgiving, Paramount Plus is serving up a tasty NFC East matchup when the Cowboys aim for another big win against the rival Commanders. It all kicks off at 4:30 Eastern, 1:30 Pacific. The NFL on CBS streams live on Paramount Plus.
All right, San Diego State, you just mentioned it. Big day Saturday. Aztecs basketball at 4, Aztecs football at 7:30, senior night. Hard to believe. Game 12 for the Aztecs, trying to go out with a win for Brady Hoke and for its senior class. Aztecs and Bulldogs, Fresno State, San Diego State, the battle for the old oil can. Saturday night, 7:30, right here on San Diego Sports 760. It's great to catch up with Garrett Fountain. He's had a great career at San Diego State. It's hard to believe it's the final game of the season. It's hard to believe, I'm sure, for Garrett, it's the final game of his 5-year career at San Diego State. So, Garrett, we appreciate your time as you get ready for senior night coming up in just a couple of days. Is it for you kind of surreal or hard to believe that this is the end of the run at San Diego State for you?
How's it going, guys? I appreciate you guys having me. And to answer your question, it is. I mean, throughout the week, it's become more and more real, And Monday, Tuesday, it was one of the things where, it doesn't seem that bad. And then today's Wednesday, and came out to practice, and it's like, man, I could possibly only have one more practice on the field here that I've spent so much time and going out Saturday and Snapdragon. It's going to be one of those tough ones where it's, knowing that it could possibly be your last game, and it's just, you got to go out there and try to get the win. But I'm a little sad, to say the least.
Oh, I bet. I mean, senior day is an emotional day for you seniors, and it's not only that's on Saturday. You're obviously taking on Fresno State and the battle for the old oil can, but it's Brady's final game in his coaching career as he announced his retirement from coaching. For you, Garrett, what's Brady meant to you as a player and as a person here at your time at San Diego State?
Well, like I said before, it's just one of those guys that if you listen to what he's saying and you try to follow in his footsteps and be the player that he wants you to be and knows you can be, and you really listen to every little detail he says, you can learn a lot. And just one of those guys that you look up to no matter who you are and where you come from. I was blessed with a good family and a good father figure, and being down here in San Diego, 6 hours away, Coach Hoke is like one of those father figures that you just look up to and you try to replicate as that man does. And you're going to, as long as you can be, just a button on his shirt, you're going to be all right in life.
Garrett Fountain is with us right now, Aztec senior defensive lineman. What do you expect your emotions to be like Saturday, and how do you get those under control and, make sure you're capable of playing your best football?
Well, I'm sure they're going to be a little all over the place. That's for sure. My mom, dad, and brother are all there, girlfriend's there, and everything's going to be a little crazy, but just one of those things where you got to not look at your mom so much so you're not crying, and then you don't want to get too fired up. So, but I'm going to be real fired up, that's for sure. Just because Fresno, it's the closest team to my hometown, and just really want to go out there and get that oil can back.
Yeah, and for you guys, it's let's face it, it's not been a great year for you guys. The record is what it is, and you've had a lot of close games this year that a couple plays here and there could have turned your season around potentially. But going out with a win this Saturday, how much could that just end the season on a note that doesn't feel so sour for how the season was?
It would end it. Going out with a win would mean pretty much the world to me right now, to be honest with you. I'd love to get that oil can back just in the Fowler Center here, and just really want to go out with a good taste in my mouth as far as getting a win, with my guys and my team. And, they've worked their butt off, and like you said, a couple of close games with a couple of plays here and there. I think if we come out there like we play our Aztec football and come out with win, it's gonna be a really great feeling.
Garrett Fountain is with us, Aztec senior defensive lineman. Would you call it, Garrett, a revenge game, the final game of the year? I go back to last year's game. That was an absolute heartbreaker. The game in Fresno that you guys had completely under control before the Bulldogs came back and kind of shocked you guys with the win. Would you call this a revenge game, or how do you look at this? A rivalry game?
It's definitely a rivalry game, and it has been for, I don't know, over 60 years.
Yep.
Coach was saying, and then it's definitely I would say a revenge game, but really just a game where we need to go out there and play hard and get the win. Definitely a revenge game a little bit though too. It's gonna have that feeling for sure.
Garrett, when I say San Diego State football for you, your time here, what's the first memory that comes to mind?
Shoot, there's too many to be honest with you. I mean, I will say though, the first one and one of the ones that's going to stick with me the most is going my freshman year. I redshirted, but I played on special teams those first 4 games, and going to UCLA in 2019 and going to the Rose Bowl and going in there and getting a win there. I think that was the first win for San Diego State. I think we were 0-22-2, I think it was, and we won and won 29. I mean, we won in 2019. It was just one of those games where the first real big game against the Pac-12 team, and we got the W. It was a crazy feeling.
Garrett, before you go, last one from me. What type of bond have you established with your fellow seniors?
Well, I mean, with the fellow seniors, I feel we've all been very close, and I feel like there's 6 of us left. I mean, really, from my class,
right?
Still here, and I think we're all very close. And I think any guy who's a senior now that's transferred in has just fell right into motion with the rest of us. I mean, we all just click and get along, and I feel we're going to have those friendships throughout life.
Well, Garrett, congratulations on everything. Of course, you'd prefer to have a better record in 2023, but the legacy of this class is a great one. You guys were part of that 12-win season. The victory at UCLA, like you said, so many wins on the Mesa for these players over the last 4 or 5 years. Enjoy senior night with your teammates and with your family and with Brady Hoke for a final time, and best of luck against the Bulldogs.
Well, I appreciate you guys. Thank you for having me on again. Thank you very much.
All right, Garrett Fountain, senior defensive lineman for San Diego State.
Yeah, it's one of those things where when you have a season like this, usually you hear like a lot of times like 1, 2, 3 Cancun, like in sports, right?
Right.
There ain't no 1, 2, 3 Cancun feeling here. I feel like the final game for the Aztecs. There's a lot. There's a lot of motivation going into this game. I feel like 1, it's a rivalry game for the Oil Can.
Yep.
2, it's senior night at Snapdragon. 3, Brady. So I don't feel like there's any quit with them, even though they haven't had a good year. And it's one of those situations where if this is the last game and you have a bad, crappy season, you want to have these factors be a play to motivate you guys to go out there and play good football.
And like you've said all day in your updates about the Brady Hoke show coming up in 22 minutes.
I mentioned it one time, thanks to Brent.
Brady has spoken on the importance of this senior class. You'll hear more about Brady's final game coming up at 6 p.m. about this Fresno State game as well. Here's the thing, though. To your point, like, this is college, not pro.
Right.
Pro, it's like
they're getting paid millions of
you
dollars.
get paid and you come back and you play out your contract.
Yeah.
9 out of 10 of this senior class, and I could be wrong on this, I think Brady said this, they're not playing professionally.
Right.
Okay, so you got an 18-member class. Let's say 1, 2, 3 have professional football opportunities, and maybe more will see camp.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 will see a camp, 7. But how many guys make an NFL roster out of these 18? I haven't done the deep dive, but if it's 1 or 2 or 3, that's impressive out of that 18. The other 15, 16, 17, it's the final time. They've been playing football since what age? Most of them.
Yeah.
Young age. And they're now 22, 23 years of age. And this is it.
Yeah.
This is it. So it's not, hey, disappointing year, we'll bounce back with the Padres. This is it. Good year, bad year. It ends Saturday night.
Yep.
At Snapdragon Stadium.
Leave it all out there.
Yeah.
And
I hope they play well. I really do. I hope they win. I just feel like the way this thing has unraveled, it would just be, it doesn't change anything. Nobody's like,
Nothing.
oh, that 4-8 season, they really, but it does change. It's just something about going out with a win. There's just something gratifying or satisfying about it.
And in your final game, you want to go out with a win, and you want to send your coach out with a win as well.
Yes.
Like, I hope that at the end of the night, they beat Fresno State and they're carrying Brady out of that stadium. And then you move on. Like, you're right. Nothing is changing there for all the talk this year from the fans. And, I'm not saying that anyone's wrong. I tend to agree with them about, like, there needs to be change in this program. That it's happening. Like, there's nothing here that happened Saturday night that will change any of that. Like, there will be change. They're interviewing coaches. The program is going in a different direction. So there shouldn't be any, well, I hope they lose this game so they end up making a change. Like, that's already happening.
Good point.
So it's like, go out there and
win the. We will share with you the UNLV offensive coordinator about his desire.
I've lost John now.
To coach at San Diego State. Plus Jim's back page. It's Thanksgiving tomorrow. Drive safe. Stay with us. It's Jon and Jim. All right, we've got some quotes from an Aztec head football coaching candidate. We'll share with you on the other side, plus Jim's back page. All right, quotes real quick. Okay. Kirk Kenny in the UT has
take your time.
spoken with UNLV offensive coordinator Brennan Marion, who has officially interviewed for the Aztecs head coaching position. Here's a quote from Brennan Marion, 36 years of age. Okay.
Okay.
He says, I think we can reach the pinnacle of college football at San Diego State, just like they have in basketball. Marion said Wednesday when contacted by phone.
Is he hired?
Ultimately, we would bring an explosive, exciting offense. I mean, a lot like Darnay Scott, Marshall Falk days, where you would see a lot of huge plays and get fans in the seats. This is the 36-year-old Brennan Marion.
Now, is it interesting to you that we're seeing quotes from a guy that's only been interviewed?
Oh, that's a really good question.
And from a guy that is in your conference.
Right. Almost like you're advocating for the position. You're speaking about your interest level, you're saying
He's like,
publicly.
I want to make San Diego State into like the greatest show on turf.
Right.
Artificial turf,
I don't know. Here's the thing. I really like his resume and his pedigree and what's happened here this year. Here's my question, Jim. Is there enough experience as an offensive coordinator to sell you on his ability to be a head coach and potentially a play caller? He's a 1-year OC at the FBS level. It's this year, and it's going really well. Is that enough of a track record for a hire?
I would look at it like this. No.
Okay.
But
could he be your OC? Could you lure him away?
That's where I was going.
Yeah.
If you happen to, whenever you bring in the new head coach, whoever it is, probably is going to want to hire their own staff. I don't know what that means for the current members on the staff of San Diego State. I'm sure they're going to be given opportunities to stay and also given opportunities to look elsewhere.
Right.
But if the new head coach comes in here and wants to hire their own OC, defensive coordinator or offensive coordinator or whatever the case may be, bringing in him it would be very, very, very intriguing. And I think if you brought in a guy that, like we talked about the other day, hey, if this guy, whoever they bring in leaves in 3 years, but puts the program in a good position in those 3 years, would you be okay with that? And you said yes.
Yeah.
Well, what if you had a situation where you told Marion, like, hey, look, you're potentially head coach in waiting, or if you do great with us, you're going to get obviously more head coaching opportunities.
Right.
Because you are so young. and you don't really have much experience on the resume in college football.
Yeah.
And a D1 level.
Like, here are the losses. At Michigan, 35-7. Okay, so they didn't score there, but it's Michigan, top-ranked defense like in
Michigan's
America.
allowed like 30 points all year.
Exactly. And then the other losses at Fresno, October
They stole all their
28th.
signs.
Yeah.
Their other losses, 31-24 at Fresno. I mean, those are their 2 losses all year. 35-7 at Michigan, no shame in that, and 31-24 on the road against Fresno State, and that's it. That's their only losses.
But is it because of the offense, or is it
Well, I mean, the offense is, again, it's 30-plus points basically every game. So I think the offense deserves, credit.
I always go back to, okay, it was offensive coordinator. He's done a great job. I always go back to like thinking, remember when the Patriots came back 28-3 versus the Falcons and everyone blamed Kyle Shanahan? Kyle Shanahan was the offensive coordinator. He wasn't the head coach. It wasn't his fault that the defense ended up giving up all those points. So yes, he called some dumb plays down the stretch for Matt Ryan. But it's always so funny how they blamed Kyle Shanahan for that Super Bowl loss when he wasn't even the head coach. So when you look at the offensive coordinator here for UNLV, 9-2, is it all because of him?
No, not all.
Right.
By the way, I don't know if this was published earlier. It may have been in release, but Brady Hoke will be the Aztecs honor warrior Saturday. You know how they typically have like the game captain?
That's awesome.
Whether it's Marshall Falk, former players. J.R. Tolver's been it before.
I like that.
Brady Hoke, as the acting head coach, will be the honor warrior for San Diego State in his final game as a head coach. I do like that too.
Yeah. And this is this is definitely a game. If you had to pick one game to go to this year, I think people would say UCLA, maybe.
But
right?
now this is cool to me. I mean, it's senior night and it's the final game.
And it's a rivalry game. It's for something. It's the last game of the year. It's senior night. Brady Hoke, Saturday night after Thanksgiving weekend.
I agree.
You know, it's not on Thanksgiving. It's families in town and all that's like, hey, let's go to an Aztec game against Fresno State.
Yeah. And I think there'll be a lot
team.
of Fresno fans. Fresno is obviously a very good program. They've had success.
Like
They've fallen off here recently.
This isn't senior night versus the other worst team.
Well, it's not Idaho State.
Yeah.
It's not an FCS opponent.
Not like Nevada at home.
Right. Exactly.
On senior night. It's Fresno State. They were just in the top 25 before they got their teeth kicked in by San Jose State a couple weeks ago.
Correct. I don't know if we have full time here for Backpage. Would you like to just share something with our listeners? It doesn't even have to be Jim's Backpage. Is there something you'd like to share with us? Would we like to hear the open for it? No. So just something you'd like to share with people on this Thanksgiving Eve, 2023.
I appreciate all of you listeners out there. I'm thankful for you, John. I'm thankful for Brent.
That's so
I'm
kind.
thankful for everybody that listens to us and watches us on YouTube, for helping the show grow all the time. And our loyal listeners, you know who you are. I'm thankful for all of you out there.
I'm thankful for our listeners and Brent.
I hate you, actually. I take all that back.
I'm just kidding. And you too. It's crazy. It's Thanksgiving. It's so crazy.
That year went by pretty fast. I just was proposing like a day ago.
Right. When was that?
That was in March.
Wow. That's crazy. You're getting married in May. We're almost 2 years official, Jon and Jim with Brent, this show.
You think
January
I'm 36
10th.
years old, even though I'm 34?
I'm pretty sure you're 36.
I'm pretty sure I'm not 36.
34?
I think you're like Danny Almonte.
Yes, exactly.
I am 14.
I can't believe you're
I am
only
12.
34.
I am 12.
You're young.
Yes, I know.
You're relatively young. Aaron's 30?
She just turned 30 this year. Yeah.
Dude, you guys are young.
I know.
Wait till you have
We're just
kids.
old.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe we are
I
old.
think we're just old.
Yeah. I had some stories, but
Anything that you have to tell us? Anything you want to tell us?
they're really not important.
All right.
Oh, we're out of time.
We're out of time. Listen, if you're driving on the roads this weekend, please be safe. And enjoy your Thanksgiving holiday with friends, family, loved ones. We are back with you Monday. Plus, we're back with you Saturday. Aztec basketball from San Juan Capistrano. Aztec football from Snapdragon Stadium. We hope to see you this weekend. Be safe. Enjoy your time with family. We'll catch up again, Jon and Jim, Monday at 3 p.m.
Eat that turkey, even though it's the worst thing ever, according to something.
Bottom eight.
Bottom eight.
Suffer through it.
Yeah, suffer through the turkey, guys.
If you missed anything today, sportssd.com, iHeartRadio app, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Spotify. If you're listening to a podcast of us, please leave a review. We really appreciate that. Find us on YouTube. Search for Jon and Jim 760. We're so grateful and thankful for you. All right, we're back Monday. Join us Saturday for San Diego State football and basketball. For Brent and Jim, I'm Jon. Happy Thanksgiving. Drive safe. This is San Diego Sports 760. Brady Hoke Show is next.
Okay.
Okay. Happy Thanksgiving.
Eat the turkey.
Gobble.